to this?
Well, the storm, the hurricane pulled all the bad weather out, and it was really nice, but now this is just the normal South Florida weather. Hot, steamy, where you get some pockets of rain and lightning that come in, and hopefully that won't delay this game tonight.
Well, Miami is coming in off an 8-5 season. They were 5-3 in ACC play last year. And let's face it, great expectations now. There's talent here. They're going to be recruiting very well under Mark Richt. So right away, immediate success. And maybe, as we said, been a while since they've had 10 or more wins.
Well, and I talked to Mark Richt about it. I mean, he inherited a good team with a lot of athletes. The issue that he's going to watch throughout the season is depth. This is a team that's still hurting from the NCAA sanctions, still 5 scholarships short. So depth will be an issue. He said in a perfect world, if he knew he would have no injuries, he'd be fine. So he'll be watching that as the year goes on.
Michael Badgley will kick it away. Back deep for the Rattlers. Norwood, he'll take it, and he'll stay right there. Wise decision by the wide receiver from Atlanta, Brandon Norwood. So the Rattlers with the football, coming off a 1-10 season. Alex Wood is their head coach for the second season. 4 years at James Madison, where he had a record of 23-22. But this is a total rebuilding project. He took over at A&M.
Yeah, and it is. And it was a program that had some academic issues, some ineligible players. He came in, and when you come in like Alex Wood, it's a philosophy. The kids have to believe in it. He said they are. They're going to class. They're doing things right. And like you said, a 1-10 season last year, nowhere to go but up for the Rattlers.
Starting quarterback, and there was some decisions to be made middle of the week. It is Kenneth Coleman with Hans Super in the backfield, and the little dump off. Good yardage on first down across the 30 out to the 32. Yes, it goes for good yardage to the tight end Alonzo Palmer Hicks, the senior from Sarasota, for about 7.
Oh, and I love the play call. Coleman's an athletic quarterback. They roll him out of the pocket. I like that, Joel. Gives him a run pass option. Nice little dump off, and they pick up 6 yards on first down. And one thing about Florida A&M, a lot of athletes in the starting lineup.
And if you can read the numbers on their jerseys, we welcome you to join us in the booth. It'll be 2nd and short. Man, losing the handle right away. Kenneth Coleman, the loss, back inside the 25 at about the 23. Well, the moisture, the humidity in the air, of course. We talked about storms in the neighborhood. Man, it's a loss. And into the backfield very quickly to make sure it was going to stay a loss was the linebacker.
And that was the old empty hand as the ball came out. Hand came through, clearly a fumble.
So 8 yards on the loss. It'll be 3rd and 11. Are you sure we're not at Florida State with that in the background?
Yeah.
Once again, out of the gun is Coleman. Demetrius Jackson flushes him out of the pocket, and it's picked right away. Interception early. It is Corn Elder, big play man out of Nashville, a senior who made some spectacular plays for him last year, and nobody will forget that final lateral to Corn Elder in the Duke game.
Well, Mark Richt and defensive coordinator Manny Diaz both said they challenged Corn Elder in spring ball in camp, and he answered. He's gotten a lot better, and boy, pretty happy right there to get an interception on the first drive of the season.
So the ultimate for Miami. Feed off your defense early in this game, and what a nightmare for A&M. A 1-10 team last year. So right away, Brad Kaya plus territory, short field. Tight formation. Man, over to the right side, huge hole to the 15, to the 10, 5, and Walton's almost there. They knock him out of bounds inside the 5 at the 3. The sophomore from Miami, could be a long night. 25 yards on the carry.
Yeah, Mark Walton from Booker T. Washington right here in Miami, as you said, Joel, just an explosive runner. Great blocking on the right side. Gets up the ladder, we call that. Comes in, just barely steps out of bounds. That knee's actually down. Doesn't step out of bounds, and knee's down before the ball breaks the plane. Nonetheless, 1st and goal for the Canes at the 2.
He stays in the backfield. Behind the fullback Williams, who's a load. Left side's available and closes in a hurry with good penetration by the Rattlers. And in fact, it's a loss of a yard. So Walton trying to find a spot if he bends it all the way to the boundary early. But he saw a little bit crease inside. It did not work.
Well, the big defensive tackle, 98, David Richardson, goes about 290 up front for Florida A&M. He had some good push right there, and that's what you have to do against the running game of Miami. You got to move him back off the line of scrimmage. Easier said than done.
It'll be 2nd and goal inside the 5. On the play fake, in the flat, the big fullback is in. Touchdown, Marquez Williams.
Great little play fake. Send Williams into the flat, and I tell you what, Mark Richt talked about him in our meeting more than any player. 6'1", 280 pounds. That's not a misprint. 280 pounds. Runs a 4.8 40. Great athlete. Loves to block. Coach Richt gives him a little love early on with the pass to the flat. Touchdown for the big fullback.
So he's not holding anything against him, despite the fact he's from Athens, Georgia.
Yeah, right.
And didn't go and play for the Dogs. In for the point after, it's Badgley. Not a bad start for the Mark Richt era. Short field. Kaya takes advantage of it. Williams on the receiving end. And a couple of minutes into the game, 7-0 Miami. Welcome back once again. And for those of you joining us on ACC Plus and on Watch ESPN, I want to remind everybody we've got lightning in the area. So we have had, from the higher locations, we've actually had to pull some of our cameramen. So we're doing the best we can here in the home opener for the Hurricanes of Miami against Florida A&M. And hopefully it'll pass through and everybody will be back in their original positions. It'll be Badgley kicking it away. Norwood back deep along with Smith, Kareem Smith. And nothing doing for Norwood. Great penetration downfield on special teams for Miami. It was Redwine with the D-back on coverage. So Norwood takes it out to the 11 from bad to worse for A&M.
Boy, and a great start for Miami on defense in that first series. You know, Florida A&M last year -6 in turnover ratio, so that interception on the first drive will not make head coach Alex Wood very happy.
And as you see over there, Hayden Mahoney is listed at 295. Big number 62 for the left guard. And if he's 295, I'm 125. It's at the 11 where it's 1st and 10. On the run, and wise decision to get out of bounds for Kenneth Coleman. He's a senior from Hazelhurst, Mississippi. 6'1", 190. You saw the wheels, a really good athlete. And last year, Rini, he alternated with the guy that's at tight end now. Carson Royal was a quarterback over the last couple of years for A&M.
Yeah, Royal threw for 1,300 yards last year, 7 touchdowns. Unfortunately, 9 interception, and only completed 49% of his passes. And that's why I insert Kenneth Coleman to the everyday, every down starter.
It's a gain of about 4. Put Trips, shift the tight end over to the short side. Trips on the wide side on the bottom. And on the little bubble action, wide of the intended target, Norwood. So the junior from Atlanta, who led A&M with 49 catches last year, just out of his reach, unfortunately, because there was space.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, Joel, that's the one in a game like this. You need to complete that. There was space. Norwood's a good athlete. And that's what you want to do. Get the ball into the hands of your athletes in space and see if you can make something happen. That's just an unforced, incomplete pass right there.
So now it's going to be 3rd and long. 3rd and a little more than 6. Norwood stays in there. He's the single on the wide side. From the 15, need to go across the 21. On the little turn-in route, in and out of the hands, and deflected. It's complete for a 1st down. Need some breaks in this game. If you're going to stay in this game, it was intended for Norwood. It goes right to the Rattlers' Willie Young, freshman wide receiver from Ocala.
Well, you said it. You need a little luck. Adrian Colbert rips that thing out, pops right up. Florida A&M, Montavious Williams, I think it was.
Yes.
Tough with these jersey numbers, but he makes the catch. 1st down, move the chains.
And they actually have 2 wide receivers with the same number. Usually offense, defense. On the give, nothing available up the middle, right at the 30. As they shut down the tailback Hans Super, and he went to Coral Gables High School, the redshirt freshman. So there's 20 from right around Miami playing for the Rattlers. There's even more from the South Florida region, but 20 from Miami high schools.
I think you're right, about 25 in the region. They're excited to come down there and play in a beautiful Hard Rock Stadium, refurbished. It looks great.
And a good night for football. Doesn't take long to get warmed down here. 2nd and 9 from the 31. On the quarterback keeper, the delay works for a first down. And it was a nice hole for Super on the play fake before the quarterback draw.
Yeah, held the backers a little bit, and Coleman right there, you see his athleticism. It's a little zone read. He pulls it out. Then he shows like he's going to pass, but you saw the hole open up nicely. Coleman, athletic enough, doesn't hesitate. He hits it hard, and he picks up a first down for Florida A&M.
Yeah, it almost, as you talk about him going and picking it up, and there's a flag at the end of the play, it almost looked like it was a zone read for him. And he thought about throwing the football, but that was a huge lane.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Assistant coach.
Boy, you can't have that happen.
Florida A&M.
You're a huge underdog coming into the game anyway. Tony Marcello from the ACC is our referee. Alex Wood in his second year, just talked about him. A guy who played, and he talked about Denny Green, who passed away just recently. Former head coach in college a long time, Stanford, in the NFL as well with the Minnesota Vikings, and a mentor to Alex Wood.
Yeah, and I mean, Denny Green passed away way too young, but we talked to Alex Wood about it, as you said, Joel, and just a mentor to him. He learned a lot from him, and again, just passed away way too young.
So the mark off of 15. It is now going to be 1st and 25. Heat off the edge and popped into the air on the deflection. Hurricanes took it away from each other. It was there for the taking, wasn't it? So it looked like the deflection came from Chad Thomas, the left end, the junior from Miami.
And this defensive unit under new defensive coordinator Manny Diaz is going to be very active. You see how they fly to the ball and how athletic they are. And we haven't mentioned yet, Joel, the Canes are starting 3 true freshmen at linebacker. Michael Pinckney, Shaq Quarterman at the middle spot, and Zach McLeod. I asked Manny Diaz, have you ever seen that before on a team you coach? He goes, forget any teams I've coached. I've never seen it ever in college football.
It's under the category of Ripley's Believe It or Not. It's the zone read. Man, nifty move. Super breaks the initial spot and yards after contact. They still need a lot, though, on 3rd down. So there's the 3 linebackers. You just mentioned Zach McLeod, Shaq Quarterman, Michael Pinckney as the true freshman's over on the sideline right now from Lantana, Florida. McLeod, but he did start the game in the last series.
And they'll rotate him and keep him fresh. You know, Manny Diaz said, listen, Quarterman and McLeod, or Pinckney rather, he moved them up the first team like the 3rd or 4th practice in the spring, and he thought, well, maybe I would, light a little fire under my upperclassmen. Well, guess what? They never gave up the #1 position.
So now it's going to be 3rd, 16, call it 17 on a drive that started for the Rattlers. Back at the 11. Can they capitalize on their good fortune on the deflection and the completion? They wash out the offensive line on the run. Will not get there. Good play in the secondary once again by the guy who had the pick, Cornelder.
Well, and there was a lot of space for Kenneth Coleman. Maybe in the MEAC, Joel, he turns the corner and picks up 15 yards. But look at the speed of Cornelder as he comes up and makes a tackle. That's exactly what he needs to do as we take a look at defensive coordinator Manny Diaz.
So a punting situation. It'll go back to the offense. So Manny Diaz pleased. First of all, they only got the first down because of the deflection. The ricochet. Blanton in to punt it away. And back deep for the Hurricanes. It is going to be Barrios, the wide receiver. Braxton Berrios, a junior from Raleigh, waiting back inside the 20. Pressure and a block. They've got it. And now can they go the other way with it? It'll be picked up by Ryan Mays inside the 20, down to the 19.
That's just a jailbreak up the middle. Any one of about 3 players could have got there. Just great pressure, great athleticism by the punt coverage team as they get in there.
Watch 93, Pat Bethel.
Yeah, I mean, just a big guy that can run. You love how he reaches those hands out perfectly, takes the ball off the foot of the punter. And just like that, the Hurricanes are in great position once again.
So Bethel gets his hands on it, and that's another first-year freshman from Vero Beach for Miami. Mays picked it up, and all of a sudden another short field. The first drive started at the A&M 28-yard line. This is at the Aggies 19-yard line. Caught at the 20. We remind you, because of lightning in the area,
Timeout.
on ACC
Miami.
Extra.
First charge timeout.
Well, we've had to pull some of our cameramen.
So be a media.
Right now, they're
timeout.
trying to identify some of the numbers on the Florida A&M jerseys as well. So stay with us as we continue in a 7-point lead early for the Canes. It has been a wild weekend to kick off the college football season, and I know it started on Thursday, but how about some of the upsets today? I don't know if you call it a huge upset. Houston by 10 over Oklahoma, because Houston, they're a good team. Well, they're an exceptional team.
Are they 1-0 in the Big 12 now, Houston?
Could be.
Could be, right? I think they might have sealed their fate.
Right, they're not going to be admitted in.
Yeah.
From the 20. Screen set up and overshooting the intended target, and it worked out well. Mark Walton covered well, and there was heat as well on Brad Kaya.
Well, great coverage. That's what you got to do. Read and recognize. Read the screen, recognize it, and then react to it. That's what they did, but a good job by Kaya to throw that thing away.
Miami has not had a double-digit win season. Hard to believe, since 2003. So Kaya has thrown for over 6,000 yards over his first 2 seasons. You saw the numbers from last year on a zone read. Walton bolts inside the 15. Down to the 13. It'll be 3rd and 3 from there. So the read by Kaya, and you don't see Kaya as a real runner to begin with.
No, I mean, he's athletic. He's got very good feet, but he's got that feet you want for a quarterback. In the pocket, can move around, and can scramble if he has to. Not known as a runner, though. He's a true pocket passer.
And good size, legit 6'4". So you're prototypical. Walton in the eye. Need 3. And over to the right side, a lot more than 3. So he cracks it down to the 7. Helmet goes from one of the Rattlers as well. And it'll be 1st and goal at the 6. So points off an interception by Cornelder. Now the potential of points off a block punt. So, and when we talk about plus minus and turnover margin, they were exceptional last year. Miami, one of the best in the nation, a plus 11 last year. So they shut down Walton on 1st and 10. But Miami led, don't forget, the ACC last year, plus 11 turnover differential. That was 10th best in the nation, creating 25 takeaways.
And if you do that, you will win games. I mean, that's one of the margins, one of statistics that you want to look at. We asked Manny Diaz, what kind of goals do you have for a defense on causing turnovers? He said, we want one more takeaway than touchdowns we give up a game. That's what he goes by.
And you just saw their problem, though. Even though they created turnovers, they didn't always capitalize inside the 20. 12th in the ACC. 2nd and goal. Ton of time. And will they get back to the marker? Yes, almost to the goal line, down to the 1. It is taken in by Braxton Berrios, his first grab of the new season. The junior from Raleigh, who missed the games last year and missed the entire season with a knee injury.
Are you kidding me? There's people out there questioning Brad Kaya's arm strength. Boy, from the far hash all the way across the field to Berrios, who makes a nifty move and almost scores, gets it down to the 1.
Yeah, actually was in the first 4, missed the last 8 for Miami. And make it the last 9 with a knee injury. So now it's going to be 3rd and goal in the eye. Yerby's in the eye behind Williams. And Yerby's in the end zone easy. Joe Yerby, the junior from Miami, 3rd-team All-ACC last year, puts more points on the boards off a takeaway.
Well, you take the starter out, Mark Walton, you put Joseph Yerby in, who, oh, by the way, rushed for 1,000 yards last year. You run behind your 280-pound fullback, Marquise Williams, and just like that, you're in for 6.
6:03 to play in a wild first quarter. Badgley in for the point after. He's got the chip shot. So the block punt triggered it all. Bethel got to it. Mays picked it up. and 7 more on the board thanks to Yerby, as the Hurricanes in Mark Richt's debut lead by 14. Welcome back once again to Miami. Is Mark Richt at his alma mater. His first year coaching at Miami, going to produce their first 10-win season since 2003. And Rini and Goldie, I ask you that question because Clemson is not on their schedule this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have a good schedule in the conference. Question is, how quick can the kids understand his new concepts? And by talking to him yesterday, they got it and they're running with it.
Norwood running now from his own 4-yard line, trying to turn the corner against Miami's team speed. Whatever you do, don't duck. Don't forget tomorrow. And Notre Dame is on Miami's schedule, but tomorrow it's in Austin. Texas Longhorns at home taking on 10th ranked Notre Dame on ABC. So check it all out. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 out on the West Coast, and October 29th, Halloween weekend. Miami is going to be in South Bend. Boy, that's always entertaining. And October 29th, it's usually gray.
Yeah.
It usually looks like a black and white photo. 12 yards on the return. And poor field position once again for A&M to start their third drive, this time at the 15. Not much available across the 16, pushing the pile up to about the 18. That was another little zone option read for Super, the redshirt freshman of 5'10", 185.
Boy, and Kendrick Norton, number 7. Don't get confused by that number 7. That's not a DB in there. That's a 6'3", 305-pound defensive tackle that's played really well in camp this year. He's one of those guys that he just doesn't take on blocks. He slips them and makes tackles, and he did it right there.
Out of the gun, we remind you, only a couple of operators up in the stands working the cameras right now. Demetrius Jackson all over the play. He got the quarterback, but he missed on the running back that time. And he almost got both of them with one hit. So it's Super again, not much available, and a third down.
And this is one of those freshmen we talked about, 56, Michael Pinckney, playing that will linebacker spot. Watch him fight off the block and make the tackle. I mean, folks, that's a true freshman. They graduated early, so they enrolled in the spring, so they had a spring ball under them, but still a true freshman. 3 of them playing linebacker, and that time Pinckney showing you why he's starting.
Yeah, things have certainly changed, haven't they?
Yeah,
when you enroll in January and you got a full spring practice, you're ahead of yourself in the maturity and actually acclimating yourself to campus. There is Demetrius Jackson again, and a sack inside the 10. So cleaning things up for Miami, Chad Thomas. Jackson off the edge, though, really set it up. And it's going to be a loss all the way back to the 8.
Yeah, Jackson's one of those speed rush defensive ends, about 260, 6'3", just goes around the left tackle, TJ Jones, and he meets Chad Thomas, the other defensive end, at Kenneth Coleman.
Braxton Berrios waiting back deep. It is going to be punted away by Colby Blanton. Could have a busy day. Sophomore, or make it the senior from Jacksonville, 40-yard career average. Set a school record with a 78-yarder, and now it's going to be just what they needed. A delay of game. Back in their own 8.
Offense. Half the distance.
So a stuttering start. Yeah. They just want to get through the first quarter and regroup.
And those are unforced errors. It doesn't matter if you're playing a conference game, a Division III team, or a Power 5 team like Miami. You just can't have those errors. We saw the unsportsmanlike conduct earlier that hurt them 15 yards, and that's just stuff you cannot do, especially when you're playing a good team.
End over ender. Berrios with a fair catch on the run. It'll take it at about the 45. So first 3 drives have all started in plus territory for Miami. The last drive was all set up by Bethel's block punt. Mays picked it up, dug up in a short field. They started at the 20. Kaya found his flanker, Berrios. Yerby finished it off, though. And right now they're making it look way too easy.
I tell you what, I'm a former running back, and I would love to run behind a fullback like Marcus Williams. That's for sure.
So from the Rattlers' 45-yard line, they've got 2 touchdowns and 2 drives that covered 48 total yards. Time, pocket held up, man, wide open. He picks up David Njoku, his tight end out of Cedar Grove, New Jersey. He had 21 last year, but stands out as his average was 17.
And he's another one that Mark Richt is very high, and he sits in his zone right there, and Kaya puts it right on him.
And now they're going hurry up, just what the Rattlers needed. Dump off for Yerby. Good breaks into the secondary. 1st and 10 inside the 20 down to the 18.
Boy, you said it, Joel. Good breaks. I love when running backs plant that foot, square your shoulders, and get upfield. Don't run out of bounds. Square it up, and boy, you see the explosion from Yerby there.
So much for running the football. So it's going to be Kaya out of the gun again on 1st down. Flood the left side. Looks back over to the other side. And he's got his tight end once again, Njoku, and missed him wide open.
Yeah, and Njoku was in the flat, kind of scramble rules. He was short, he went long. He was actually open. Kaya just a little too pumped up on that throw as he overthrows the big tight end.
It's the 11th time Miami has met A&M. First time, believe it or not, was a loss, and that was in Tallahassee way back when. 1979 freshman season for Mark Richt.
You didn't call that game, did you?
I did. Don't go there. You didn't have to. That was cold, is what that was.
That was mean. I'm sorry,
really,
Joel.
You got first round.
That was a softball.
2nd and 10 from the 18.
Listen, I saw you on the treadmill today. You look great.
Yeah.
So when you made that comment about 120 pounds, you might be.
That looked like, what was it, the Taylor Swift commercial? From the 18. Ton of time and overshooting Stacy Coley. He was sandwiched. Not bad coverage that time. Looking for Coley, senior from Pompano Beach, just a few minutes away.
Yeah, and this is one where Brad Kaya, you want to put this ball low and away so Coley can go down and get it. You don't want to sail it up high. He has the arm strength to get it in there between two defenders. Just can't sail, and you want that one low.
See the numbers so far on Kaya. Hit 61% of his passes last year. 15 scores, only 6 picks. Time in the flat bubble, and Njoku will not be able to get away from the first. So they tried to set up a little tight end bubble screen. It didn't work. Only a gain of about 2, and a field goal try coming up.
And a nice hold by Florida A&M. Out there making some plays. They read that screen to Njoku well, and they make the tackle. Badgley
in. Set a Miami single season record last year with 25 field goals. We saw the red zone percentage, 12th in the ACC. That's why they needed him. It is going to be a 33-yard attempt from the right hash, and it is wide right. So 25 field goals last year on 30 attempts and over 1 so far this season.
Yeah, just pushed it right. It's like a golfer. It doesn't follow through, leaves it out there.
I know that shot. Got that shot in my bag regularly.
Well, you know what they say, you can talk to a fade, a hook never listens. Unfortunately, you don't want to fade as a kicker either.
Yeah, and they got a duck as a mascot, right?
Yeah.
Talk about duck hooks. So they'll place it back at the point of the kick. And it's going to be a break for the Rattlers. They'll put it actually at the 20-yard line. Their 4th possession already here in the first 15 minutes of play with 2:11 left.
Yeah, and if you're Florida A&M, it's just horrible field position this first quarter. You just got to try to grind out a couple first downs, and obviously you'd love to score, but if not, try to flip the field position around here.
So Coleman stays in there, their starting quarterback. Last year, threw for 600 yards with 3 scores, 4 picks in an alternating role, and they torpedo the play before he could even hand it off to an unlucky Hans Super. Well, the penetration against this offensive line, just not fair.
Yeah, big Cortell Jenkins right there, 305 pounds in the middle, clogging it up. As we look at their rush defense last year, 101st, giving up 200 yards a game. That's too much. And that's one thing that defensive coordinator Manny Diaz will want to clean up.
Well, and this is a confidence builder, and they'll need it. They're not the deepest team, and that's why he's playing. We talked about all the true freshmen that are playing in the first 11 on the defensive side. 2nd and 12. And on the zone read, Super again weaves his way across the 20 before he's body slammed by Jaquan Jackson, the sophomore out of Miami, their safety.
And that's what you want to do if you're a safety. You come up, you call that blood alley. Come inside out, meet the running back on. Super form tackle. I love that, Joel, as he drives the backwards.
Johnson played in all 13 last year as a freshman. It brings up a 3rd and 5. Spread the defense, 2 to each side, no tight end in the formation. Swing, Super. Needs to beat 1, bends it out, gets the first down across the 30. Good decision. If he takes it inside towards the seam, he doesn't make it. So good read looking upfield.
Tremendous job by Hans Super there. Catches a little swing pass, as you said, stepped in like he was going to go upfield, bounced it outside, had the speed and athleticism to turn the corner and pick up the first down. A little dip in, back out with speed. Good job by Supra.
So first down, their second of the game, across the 32 to the 33. And mishandled. Hot snap. And a good job by Coleman just to make sure he's got it. Thomas was there anyway. He wasn't going anywhere. Chad Thomas is going to show up on film in the first quarter of this game.
Yeah, I mean, this defensive line is so fast. If you have a high snap, then they're going to get there even quicker. And then that's a case there where the center, Khalil Harris, when you're dealing with a good defensive tackle up front, you start thinking about, okay, I got to block this guy, and you don't get a good snap.
So the ultimate for Miami. A defense that was victimized last year too often. For Mark Richt in his debut, showing up in the first 15 minutes of the new season. Hurricanes with 14 points off A&M turnovers, lead at the end of the first quarter. We continue from Miami on the ACC Network Extra. Mark Richt in his debut at his alma mater. And the offense has not done much. It's been the defense that has basically produced the 14 points. So even though they have the experience on the offensive side, quarterback draw all the way, and he ran into a guy that you're not going to move. So the defensive end on that play made the stop. Ryan Fines, redshirt freshman from Bradenton, put him down in a hurry. It's one thing to read and not see the safety.
Yeah, but a 300-pound D lineman, right. And of course, Shaq Quarterman, the freshman middle linebacker, was there as well.
So loss of a yard. It's going to be 3rd and long. Move the pocket by design. Underneath, it's complete. Very little for Montavious Williams on the reception. A guy that's all preseason MEAC.
And that's excellent defense by the Hurricanes. Redwine comes up, on a 3rd and long. You'll give him that underneath pass, give him the cushion. As long as you come up and make the tackle. Redwine played that exactly the way you should.
Barrios waiting for the punt once again. And it is going to be the 3rd punt of the game already for Colby Blanton.
Flake's probably going to be a little tired after this one.
So the Hurricanes have enjoyed exceptional field position. Low line drive wobbler. Good hop. Barrios, a couple of blocks, trying to make the most of it. And again, after starting at the 45 and that was A&M's 45 last time. Now they're going to start in their own territory for the first time tonight with their 4th possession. It's a brand new ballpark, a magnificent ballpark, and the reconfiguration of a ballpark that's been around for a while, but when you drive up, you wouldn't know it from the outside.
Well, it's gorgeous, and I talked to Coach Mark Richt about it. I said, is it a disadvantage that you come and play in this stadium? And he's like, no, it's an advantage. Wait till you see this stadium. He goes, the people that say it's a disadvantage are the ones that are recruiting against us.
He's right about that. From the 39, and sidelines are exceptional. Home of the Miami Dolphins as well. Used to be the home, unfortunately, the Marlins too. Little play action waggle, and on the roll, a wide open receiver for Kaya. It's Chris Herndon, his tight end from Norcross, Georgia, a junior tight. All 3 of the tight ends returned from last year, and they've had great tight ends, of course, at Miami. 26 yards on the catch.
Yeah, I love a little play action. Roll Kaya out to the right. Gets Herndon. Watch the block he picks up right here. Clean block. You can hit on the side. That's just as good as in front. Stacy Coley You love it when your star wide receivers will come back and block as well. Coley, exceptional right there.
It down to the 35 of the long gain to the tight end. Set it up in a 2 tight end set for the tailback. And Walton up the back of his blocker for only a yard. While we talk about the tight ends here, all 3 are back. We saw Njoku catch one. Now Herndon. Standish Dobard is the senior out of New Orleans. He's yet to touch the football. But don't forget, we can go to Bubba Franks, Jeremy Shockey, most recently Greg Olsen. They've had exceptional tight ends.
A lot of great tight ends. And the thing I love about Kaya is he spreads the ball around. He doesn't lock in on one target. He moves it around, different tight ends, different receivers.
Good call. Kaya, a little bit behind his intended target. Bobbling catch and a really good one. It is taken in by his wideout, Amon Richards, another first-year freshman from Wellington, Florida.
Yeah, and another kid Mark Richt is impressed about. True freshman, can stretch the field. That time the ball's tipped to the line of scrimmage. But what concentration by Richards as he still makes the catches. It's behind him in traffic and picks up the first down.
16 yards and another first down on the reception down to the 18. So it's only going to get better for the Canes, utilizing so many true freshmen. Drive started back at their own 40. It's Walton. And no yards after contact that time. Outstanding play defensively coming up and making sure he didn't get away was Ronald Harris Jr., the junior from Raleigh. So they're going to be looking at a lot of different guys before. And what's so tough for the Rattlers after 1-10, the first 3 games are on the road this year.
I mean,
Coastal Carolina coming up.
No pushover either. I mean, a very good team.
Going to be second and long. Just about 4 minutes gone in the second 15. Movement up front. No flag on the right side of the line. It looked like the tackle and the defensive end came over. The carry for Gus the Bus Edwards, a junior from Staten Island. They like this guy. He's 6'1". Talk about size, 6'1", 230. They've got some guys, and you talked about the fullback, 6'1", 280.
Florida A&M.
They're always going to be the lowest, aren't they?
Oh,
Should be a TV timeout.
Low man wins.
First charge
and right now,
timeout.
Miami's got plenty of those as they're up by 14. Back offensively for the Hurricanes of Miami, and it's showing on this their most impressive drive so far. Welcome back once again. We remind you we've had to bring some of our cameramen out of the stands and out of the upper decks where they're normally manning their cameras because of lightning in the area. So hopefully that will leave the area, and we'll be back to normal here on ACC Network Extra. Good to have you with us. So 14-0 lead for Miami. They've got a 3rd and long out of the timeout at the 16 to the Rattlers. Kaya, middle of the field, wide open, touchdown to the tight end, Chris Herndon.
When that time Florida A&M sent a corner blitz trying to get some pressure on Kaya. Zero coverage everywhere else, man to man. And Christopher Herndon, the big tight end, slides into the middle of the field. Kaya with his arm strength puts it right on him. And the Canes strike again.
So making the difficult one. Guyton, the safety, tried to get there.
Yeah, Guyton and Bryant, the two free safeties.
He's
Bryant comes
review.
over late as he comes off his
Ruling
man.
on the field. It's touchdown.
And the booth will look at this to make sure Herndon controlled that ball to the ground. Remember, catch, no catch is the most argumentative thing in football. We'll take a look at it here. Bobbling it there. Does he re-secure it? Is the question. It can move there because it's on top of his body, Joel. Did it touch the ground? If it touched the ground, they're going to call it incomplete. Remember, you have to complete the reception by bringing it in as you hit the ground. You saw it bobble, but as he falls, this is going to be our best look. Gets the hit by Jacques Bryant, the free safety. The ball's bobbling. Let's see if it hits the ground. He gets that right hand. Boy, right hand looks like it's under, and I'm with you, Joel. You need indisputable video evidence to overturn it. Again, it was called a touchdown on the field. Replay official Joe Underwood from the ACC spoke to him earlier, and we'll get the call here from Tony Marcella shortly.
It's the best look, as you mentioned. And he did get his
After
hand
further
under it. It
review,
should stand.
ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
It is a touchdown.
And he said stand, so just to get the terminology, he didn't have an indisputable look one way or the other, so he went with the call on the field, which I believe is the correct thing, the right call.
6 plays, 61-yard drive. Badgley in for the point after. Van Kai on a roll now. He's hit his last 4 passes. He's 8 of 11 to start the new season, and that is his second touchdown toss of the game. First one went to his fullback Williams. Now it goes to the tight end Herndon, and you're right. He moves it around. He spreads the ball around, not playing favorites. So 21-0, just 4 minutes into the second quarter.
You know, and the thing with Kai is, Mark Richt said when he came in, the one thing he watched with Brad Kai is he said he had a little issue throwing it to the left. That one actually was to the left. He wasn't stepping into his throws to the left side. He's worked with him and gotten a lot better. And the other thing with Kai is he has a great command of the offense. They run what's called a combo. He can change the play every time at the line of scrimmage, especially in the running game. So it is such an asset to have an experienced quarterback running your offense.
Now, if you're the Rattlers, Alex Wood, nightmare to start with.
It is. I mean, Joel, you know, what can you do? You're outmanned up front. You got to try to establish somewhat of a running game, get some first downs, and try to flip field position. But let's not kid ourselves. They're just outmanned by this Miami Hurricane team.
Badgley brings it over to the near side. It's going to be Herndon at the goal line. Lane closed in a hurry, and he's tripped up crossing the 15 out to about the 17 for A&M. So it's going to be the 5th offensive series for A&M, but each time it has started at the best field position's been their 25, and that was on a touchback. The other 4, the 11, 15, 20, and now the 17.
You see the speed of the special teams for Miami. Kickoff coverage, as you said, kick it short of the goal line. Don't give them the 25. You got the speed to run down there and cover, and they're keeping them inside the 20-yard line.
So 1 in 10 in his first year last season. And they knew they couldn't turn the ball over, and right away they had 2 turnovers to start the game.
Yeah, and you see Alex Wood there. You want tempo. They're running off the sideline. There's 5 seconds on the play clock right now.
It'll be Super. Doesn't go anywhere. So it was Kendrick Norton, sophomore from Jacksonville, all over it. Coleman has not had a lot of time when you look at those numbers.
Yeah, and we should say, in case our viewers don't know, Florida A&M is in Tallahassee, and they were hit by that hurricane. They got out Thursday night. They left early to come down. They lost power. So hopefully when they get back in there, everything's okay. And obviously our well wishes go out to everybody that hurricane hit, especially in that Tallahassee region.
Thinking about you, and as you mentioned, hopefully it's back to normal soon there. 7-hour drive from Tallahassee to Miami. The slant in and out of the intended target. And a good throw to Williams. Montavious Williams couldn't hang on, a senior from Tallahassee. So, and they're not leaving after the game either, which is nice because it is 7 hours on these young men. Go back tomorrow.
Yep, go back, relax, and then get out of there, get out of here and get there tomorrow. But we just saw the drop by Williams, and talking in a game like this, that's a catch you got to make. You know, when you can get some yardage and get close to a first down, you just got to capitalize. Can't have drop passes.
So now 3rd and 12 from the 15. Pocket holds up well. Williams again belted and put down in a hurry. So coming up on the play, Jaquan Johnson, who we saw with a body slam earlier, the sophomore from Miami.
Yeah, I mean, how fast is this secondary for the Hurricanes? Look how Johnson closes to the ball. You know, that was one of the concerns for Mark Richt, Manny Diaz, and they took this team over, was the secondary. Well, after spring and after camp, they challenged them and they said, it's not a worry any longer. Cornell Elder has stepped up. They have a 5th-year graduate transfer. Adrian Colbert at the other corner from Texas. He's been a great addition. And then the safeties, we've called Johnson's name a bunch tonight.
Colby Blenton with his 4th punt of the game. Already had 1 block. Dead ball foul coming up. And in fact, it's not going to be a penalty. It'll be a timeout instead for Miami.
Offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Well, they're going to call a delay of game, but actually the linesman's coming over to say there was a timeout
Yeah,
called.
he's going to tell him Alex Wood called it before
Correction.
the flag.
Timeout was called prior to the delay of game. No foul.
Don't mark off the 5. We're on the ACC Network Extra.
Timeout.
And we're
Florida
limited right
A&M.
now. And by the second half,
30-second
maybe some of the
timeout.
cameramen can get back into their positions. Due to the lightning in the area, they had to vacate the premises almost about 5 minutes before kick. So bad timing for us. 21-0 is the lead for Miami. And we talked about Miami and what has happened to this program. And 8-5 last year, 5-3 in ACC play. Games that were there for the taking that got away, like the bowl game against Washington State.
Listen, I think Al Golden did a nice job. I think he was really hamstrung by the sanctions that really he had nothing to do with. Talked to Manny Diaz, defensive corner. He said, listen, we're still five scholarship shorts. Those sanctions are still hurting us. That's why so many true freshmen are playing. Mark Richt said they're probably only going to redshirt 2 players this year.
Almost blocked again. Barrios, he's going to let it go. Good idea with no blocking. And it's going to be the deepest start in their own territory for a drive for the Hurricanes when we come back outside of their own 25. Good news as we welcome you back to Miami. The electricity has obviously left the area and our guys are back in position.
I think they just wanted to be on camera. You know, they came back because they never get shot. They're always shooting. So now they're all on.
I actually think it was a union thing. They demand breaks, even if it's the start of a game.
Good looking crew, though.
So things are back to normal. And the safety of everybody in the stadium as well, with the Lightning leaving the area. The deep ball is available. And can he hang on? No. Right on target from Amon Richards. Good throw by Kaya. No question about that.
And that's one the young man wishes he had back again. He impresses with his speed. He can stretch the field. That's what he does here. He's 3 steps behind the defender. He just did everything but catch the ball. And you see there, he kind of started running with it before he secured it. And it goes incomplete.
It would have been good for, and they say it is good.
Wow.
That came out. He had it on his hip. He had it on his hip. I'd take this snap in a hurry.
Yeah.
Yes, they will. It looked like it came out.
Well, no, they buzzed. Here we go.
All right. Yeah, it came out. It was on his hip. And then I don't think it was
Previous play is under review.
They tried to hurry up. You're 100%
Ruling
right,
on the
Joel.
field. We have a completed catch.
We'll take a look at it here again.
Don't buzz me.
There's 3 parts to it. You need to control the ball, and if you're going to the ground, you have to come up with it. Now, if you make what's deemed a move relative to the game, or a football move like we call it, it can come out, but he never has it there. And again, what happens is the replay official has a buzzer on all the officials down there. He will buzz. A lot of times the offensive team will try to snap it in a hurry. The buzzer comes as that snap's coming, and that's what happened there. So they got it in. So Joseph Underwood, the replay official, will take a look at that one. But I'm with you, partner. Looks incomplete to me.
Well, it's interesting because his body language told us everything we needed to know at the end of the play.
Grabbed his head, and if that's complete, I think Des Bryant and a few other guys are going to be pretty upset. You got it there, right there, as he's going to the ground.
There,
the ball's loose, correct.
Yeah. Doesn't possess it, then it's out.
Correct. And if you go to the ground, you have to secure the ball. And he never really had it secured at all.
So it should come back after a long incompletion. It would have been a 48-yard gain. They are ACC officials.
Yep. Well, and again, if you're saying, boy, what's taking so long? When you call it incomplete, you got to get the clock back to the right spot. You got to know where you're going to put it back to mark it, so it takes a little longer if you overturn the call, especially on a long pass play like that.
So as they sort things out, and it shouldn't take that long, sorry. Miami has not dropped a home opener, we remind you, since 2006. That's when they were playing in the Orange Bowl, and it was a different opponent.
Yeah.
Florida State, 13-10. So the experience of the quarterback position and a really good throw. Now, he didn't lead him, but it's still there and it's catchable. If he leads him, it's a touchdown.
After further review, ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. Be second down and 10, 25-yard line. Clock will be on the snap.
And the wide receiver Richards knew it. Even there, you could see the disappointment.
And again, it's not that they took that much time to say it was incomplete. Once they ruled it was incomplete, then they got to make sure they get the clock right, because the clock would have kept running. Make sure they put the clock back where it needs to go, and then get the yard marker right. Now you got to run the first down markers back. Say it's second down, so that takes a little time. So, but the important thing is they got it correct.
Absolutely. So, and I thought there were 2:48 left in the half.
Yeah.
8:48 to play, and let's see if the Rattlers can create a takeaway now. It's as deep as it's been in Miami territory. And they gave him a couple of extra yards. They could have called it second and 10 at the 25. And making a miss. Yearby's got the first down. It was actually from the 27. So they brought it back and they penalized him 2. It'll be Yearby for the first down. The junior running back from Miami. And they're in good shape at the running back position. Yearby, in fact, 9th running back at Miami to go over 1,000 yards in a single season. 5-yard average, 205 carries last year. So you got 11 there. It'll be Yearby. Turns the corner effectively, and a lot of missed tackles. He may go the distance now. Needs a block from the wide receiver. He'll get it. Touchdown, Miami.
And that's just a stretch play, Joel. Stretch to the right with Yearby. He turns the corner, squares his shoulder, and he's down the sideline 64 yards for a touchdown.
It's good at the easiest run he has all season.
Yeah, you see that? This is a stretch play, reach blocking by the offensive line. I love, again, plants that foot, stays in bounds, doesn't go out. Watch the blocking by the wide receiver up front. Exactly what you want. Cuts it back up. I think it was Dale Harris out front blocking. And Yearby is essentially untouched to the end zone.
64 yards on the run. And a 28-0 lead on the point after by Badgley. So an innocent looking enough play, but enough missed tackles to make it work for Yearby and the Canes. So Joe Yearby, missed tackle. What about Helms, 52?
Yeah, I mean, you're a middle linebacker. You're coming. You got to lay out the back there. You can't slow up. They assumed Yearby was going to go out of bounds. And he said, guess what, fellas? I'm going to put my foot in the ground, and I'm going to split you. I mean, the safety, Bryant, goes by him. Helms, the middle linebacker, slows up. You just can't do that.
So disappointment with good reason. Kicked away by Badgley. It'll be Norwood from outside the 5 and across the 25. This is the best field position to start a drive for Florida A&M at their own 26. Well, upset Saturday is what we're going to call the opening weekend of the college football season. And we had a couple of top 5 teams lose. You and I watched Oklahoma lose today to Houston. That's not a huge upset. Houston's a really good team. So it was down in Houston.
I think the way they lost, and then you see Wisconsin, they're 6. And here we go.
There's your predictions.
Our producer, Greg Pike, he's sticking a knife in my back. I picked LSU to win it all. Oh, I'm done.
Did a great job.
Hey, if you rely on predicting what 18 to 22-year-old young men do, you're in trouble.
8 off the edge. Man.
Ouch.
Reception made. It's Williams hanging on this time to the 40 for a first down. All I know is Gulfstream Park is right down the street from our hotel, and I'm not going with you.
You know, I'll say this. They got the schedule if they run the table from here on out.
Okay, good.
But there's a team called Alabama that's in the way, amongst others. So, yep, I'm done.
And that's where we're headed. Second half of that game later.
Yeah, should be a great one. Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, what a great kickoff
Where's
weekend.
snap? False start. 62 on the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. First down.
Unfortunately, penalty against Florida State. Well, Ohio State did lose early last season, didn't they?
It happens. Listen.
Or 2 years ago, actually.
That's the benefit in all seriousness of playing good games this first weekend, that you can overcome it. The problem is you can't have any other slip-ups.
And you're going to figure out the way the system and the ratings and how they derive those
Good
numbers.
luck.
Nothing doing on 1st and 15, loss of about 2. Back to the 33 on the run by Super.
Well, how about the other upset? South Alabama beat Mississippi State, so the mighty SEC.
Northwestern lost too.
Taking it on the chin. Western Michigan beat Northwestern. It's a lot of upsets. Army the other night beat Temple.
So those are the Broncos of Western Michigan,
Broncos.
right? Not the Chippewas of Central
Not the Chippewas,
Michigan.
no. But it is the MAC, same conference.
Call it a loss of a yard back to the 34. Inside of 7 to play. Set up the little bubble screen, the wide receiver, and he gets a nice kick out block past the 45 to the 50. Well executed as it goes to Brandon Norwood. You said it. First down.
Well, and a much needed positive play. You call the Joe Bubble screen. Good job by Norwood. Get off. The defender gets his blocks out in front. Turns it upfield, picks up a first down.
Go in a hurry. Super for a yard over to the left side. 20 yards on that game by the wide receiver. A little bubble screen for Norwood, the junior out of Atlanta, who led A&M with 49 catches last year. In fact, that was Tevin Spells, not Super, just into the game. His first carry, the junior from not far from here, Delray Beach. Play fake, wide open. It goes to the tight end. Desmond Nord's got it inside the 20. And a first down on a busted assignment in the secondary all the way to the 15.
Well, there was 2 wide open receivers. He went to Nord, but Norwood was really wide open. That's who I thought he was going to. If he did, he would have had a touchdown.
Right. 31 yards on the gain, trying to get to the board finally. Too bad. It spells, and I'm saying too bad because he really took a jolt. Hits the hole, but is pushed backwards, maybe a yard at the most.
Well, defensive coordinator Manny Diaz is not going to be happy with that blown assignment. We saw a nice bubble screen by Florida A&M, and then the blown assignment, and they're knocking on the door to get their first score of the ball game.
Mayor Manny Diaz is not going to be happy either. 2nd and 9 from the 14. Call the play at the line. Wide open again and overshooting the same man, Nord. 6'3", 230-pound junior from Atlanta with 15 grabs, a couple of scores last year.
A great play call from offensive coordinator Martin Spiller as they slide Nord out the backfield, a little route down the sideline, a little wheel route. The linebacker comes up, doesn't cover him, and they had him, and that's one. If Coleman puts it on him, that's a touchdown.
He ran the jet. The action came to the near side. The attention, or they flooded the near side. The weak side was available. 3rd down, a little less than 9. Man overshooting is wide receiver on that side of the field to the far side, Brian Norwood. So a field goal attempt coming up for Khalil Clark. First-year freshman from Tallahassee is going to try to get the Rattlers on the board.
How'd you like to be a true freshman kicker? First collegiate field goal against the Hurricanes.
And check that. Is it going to, did they change the number? On Clark, it's Austin Miller instead. From 31 yards away, it's on its way, and it's good. So Khalil Clark had been on first team up until a few hours ago, obviously, and Austin Miller, the sophomore from Tampa, gets the 31-yarder.
Well, and after looking at that kick, there's no wonder that Miller's now the place kicker because he drilled that thing.
So a drive that started back at their own 26, and I like it. Special teams coach out there. He invested in Austin Miller.
Pretty happy about that.
I like it. Yeah, it's a good moment for coach and player. So the 31-yard field goal, 28-3, and a good drive that started, and they mixed things up. Not a lot on the ground, but the misdirection through the air and the bubble screen, and also the action going one way with the tight end the other way.
And again, Florida A&M, their starting lineup, they got some athletes out there with speed. So if they can hold some blocks, get it to their athletes like Brandon Norwood at wide receiver on those bubble screens, quick wide receiver passes, they can get some yardage, and that's what they did there. We saw the busted coverage by the Hurricanes in the secondary, the big tight end. Norwood made the catch, and it was a nice drive. Obviously would love to have put 6 on the board, but they will take the field goal. Something positive for Florida A&M.
Over to the far side, a short one's going to go out of bounds. So flag. And Miami once again with great field position. .447 to play in the first 30 minutes of play. So after the real good 31-yard field goal.
It's about to get yelled at.
Right.
Kicking it out of bounds.
He was still juiced up.
Yep.
And that was a duck hook. It'll go to the 35. It was a 9-play, 60-yard drive, culminating in the 31-yard field goal by that young man, Austin Miller.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Offsides kicking team. That penalty is
They had an
declined.
option. It was
Kick
also
out of bounds.
offside on the kicking team, and that's why they were talking to Mark Richt.
First down, Miami.
Because, of course, they can elect to mark it off, kick it over again, so they're going to come and ask Mark Richt what he wants to do, and he's going to take it right there and put his offense back on the field.
So off a very impressive drive, Brad Kaya. And a couple of drives ago, don't forget, he had that touchdown pass to Herndon. He had hit his 4 straight in that drive. Last drive dominated by a 64-yard run by Joe Yearby. And now Miami, as if they needed it, a short field once again, up by 25. Short drop and a long throw. It had to be a good one, otherwise the D-back did not play it poorly. Stacey Coley's there, but if it's a low throw, it could be a pick 6.
Yeah, the corner, Michael Purvisel, undercuts this, and that's what he was thinking, Joel, pick 6, but Kaya's arm's strong enough, and he gets that throw high enough over the corner for Coley to make the catch.
Yeah, on the far side hash to the near side boundary. That's a long throw.
Big time throw.
Pressure is picked up. Great play by the tailback. Deep ball, and all tangled up with Stacey Coley. But good recognition in the backfield.
Yeah.
So Kaya, he wasn't rattled by it.
And I like the play call, 2nd and 1. Take that shot vertical down the field, incomplete. Come back and you can still pick this thing up.
So single to the backfield, needing a yard from their own 44. Two tight end formation. And are we going to get a timeout?
Yeah, Mark Richt did not like what he saw there. Calls the timeout. Remember, Mark Richt's also the offensive coordinator, calls the plays for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, Mark Richt, we talked about his freshman year, 79, and the loss, but he had a nice run. And a quarterback, don't forget, his coach was Howard Schnellenberger.
Yeah, it's pretty good there. Look at this photo.
Well, look at that. Testaverde, Kozar, the bookends with Rick, number 9, and look at number 12.
Jim Kelly. I mean,
not bad.
One of the best ever. Yeah.
They've had some quarterbacks at this university. Now they're trying to get back into where Florida State, a legitimate shot to win the national championship this year, trying to get back into that recruiting mode where they're getting the top 2 or 3 at each position.
Correct.
Because right now, Alabama drawing from Florida.
Well, you hit it. And I was going to say, too, Mark Richt, you need to put a fence around Miami, too, and not let other teams come in here.
Infraction, number 68, offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Mark off 5. It'll be 3rd and 6.
Yeah, and that happens sometimes. You try to go real quick to pick up the first down, a little false start. That's what happened there, and now you're knocked back to a 3rd and 6.
They call it on the center. The false start on Nick Linder, guy that started every game last year, the junior from Fort Lauderdale. They need to take it across the 45. Pocket collapses and down goes the quarterback Kaya for the first time. So celebrating with good reason, Elijah Price, the defensive lineman, a junior from Jacksonville.
Yeah, Price is a lighter guy, 225 pounds. The inside move versus Tyree St. Louis, number 78, playing right tackle, and he gets to Kaya for the sack.
Goes by the sophomore. Plenty of snaps for Price over the last 2 years without a start. Ben, a punt for Justin Vogel, and a good one. It is taken on the return, bringing it back Kareem Smith, the wideout from Haines City, Florida. And again, not bad. Solid field position for the Rattlers coming off their first points of the game. Welcome back once again to Miami as Florida A&M gets it for the 7th time here in the first half. And it has been getting better for the Rattlers. They were down 20-0, got their first points off the last drive. And that was a 9-play, 60-yard drive, mixing things up. Their longest drive so far, by far. And then don't forget about the interception, and then on the next series, a block punt that turned into score. On the carry, on first down, it is Hans Super back into the game. Spell's got the last series. He gets about 4. So good movement over to the left side.
And a good defensive stop by Florida A&M to force the punt. Nice carry by Super on first down.
Stays in the game. They work out of the gun, almost like that pistol formation.
Yeah.
Man, good zone read. Coleman battles in yards after contact. Got the first down. So, and we talk about the pistol. Too often, though, in the pistol, your quarterback takes some shots.
Yeah, well, that time, though, on the zone read, the correct read by Coleman is he pulls it out from Super and keeps it. Unfortunately, when you're a running quarterback, you're going to get hit. And playing against this Miami defense, Coleman needs to buckle up that chin strap.
We talked about 6'4" and a legit 6'4" for Kai. Coleman goes 6'1", 190, and more of a runner than a legit deep thrower and pocket passer. First down to the 46, blitz off the edge. That altered the course of the running back, didn't it? Super belted in the backfield, and we talk about losing yards on first down. I mean, there's already 5 against them.
Yeah, just too much penetration. That defensive line, they send a blitz, but no one blocks 92 Cortell Jenkins. Again, 6'2", 320 pounds in the middle of that line. Someone's got to put a hat on him.
So Jenkins busted it up. It's a 28-3 lead. Joel Myers, Rainier Golia. We're in Miami. Opener for Mark Richt, the new head coach, 16th season as a head coach. That is a serious shot on the running back. It's not fair. So Pinckney puts down the tailback. And Michael Pinckney, we talked about the freshman.
Yeah.
He enrolled in January for spring practice purposes too.
Ouch is what I say when I see that highlight. Woo! They can bring it. They said they're fearless. All 3 of those freshmen are fearless players.
Boy, can he run. 6'1", 220. Young man from Jacksonville. And now it's going to be 3rd and 16. So Miami still with timeouts on the board. Middle of the field, available, complete, and a first down inside the 30. It goes for the first touch of the night to the wide receiver for the Rattlers, and that is Kevin Troutman, a sophomore from Cocoa, Florida.
Wow, what a great throw by Kenneth Coleman. We talked about him being a runner. He spins it right there. Joel zips it in there between 2 defenders, and Troutman makes the catch.
So it's all the way down to the 30 for a gain of 30. So inside of 40 seconds, still a couple of timeouts on the board for the Rattlers. Nothing up the middle. And now, let's see if they use one of their timeouts. You'd have to think they want to stop the clock. Still rolling. And actually, they only have 1 timeout remaining.
Well, and that's the problem when you're in Miami and you're up 28-0 early. A lot of times you get a little complacent in the second quarter. And Florida A&M, they'll give them a lot of credit, a lot of fight. They're not giving up in this game.
And the pocket protection as we saw in the last series, better for Coleman to make that throw to Troutman on his first touch of the game. So they're going deep. Troutman not listed on their depth chart among the first two. So trying to find some sources, and we don't blame Alex Wood. Getting new guys reps early in the season.
Listen, get him in there, let him play. This is a great experience playing a team like Miami out of the ACC. Get him in there, and I think what Alex Wood really likes in his first half is the fight in his team. How many times we see games like this, Joel, you're down 28-0 early, and then the kids pack it in, and the next thing you know, it's 65-0. And but no, Florida A&M still fighting. Again, they have athletes, and they're looking to put some more points on the board right here before halftime.
So one pick, 9 as you saw for 15, 135 yards. On second down, it's a wide receiver toss into the end zone. Touchdown, no. Montavious Williams had it and lost it.
Boy, he did a tremendous job of locating the ball. Good coverage, but Williams locates the ball, comes back on the end-around pass.
Offense, number 51.
Watch the end here. He actually has the ball.
5-yard penalty.
Boy, a catch that he probably should have made. Would have been a great touchdown for Florida A&M, but it goes for naught.
And penalty would have brought it back anyway.
Yeah.
5-yard mark off. Back to the 35.
So it's a moot point.
And now,
field goal range. Probably not in it.
I was going to say, it's all of a sudden a 52, 53-yarder. And Coleman's got to avoid the sack. They're out of timeouts, Florida A&M. If they are even going to try a long field goal with only 17 seconds left. The heat comes, middle of the field, falls incomplete. Flag at the end. Is it going to be a hold, which would wipe out field goal territory completely?
Holding. 63 on the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Aguilera, the right guard, is called. The junior from right here in Miami, 3-year starter.
And that's the problem when you have a physical, fast, and athletic defensive front. With that D-line of Miami, they're slipping blocks, and unfortunately, you got to grab them, and got caught right there.
So now, all the way back to the 45. Can they use the sideline? Get enough yardage, maybe for a field goal try, or do you go to the end zone right now? It's a run, and that'll do it for the half. Interesting. So Super shut down inside the 45, and they'll go to the locker room in a 25-point ball game.
Now you think you'd roll them out, maybe roll Coleman out and take a shot at the end zone or downfield, get a pass interference, something, but Alex Wood elects to run it there, and as you said, we'll go to halftime 28-3.
So solid beginning for Mark Richt over the first 30 minutes of his debut here at his alma mater, and especially for his defensive unit. Miami leading at 28-3. Coming up next, it's the Capital One halftime report. Stay with us in Miami. Big things expected, and a nice efficient start where he really hasn't forced anything. He hasn't had to against Florida A&M. Going back deep for the Hurricanes, Mark Walton, along with Malcolm Lewis. And a little pooch over to the near side. Going to be covered right away in a smart play by the up man for the Hurricanes, Standish Dobar, the tight end. He's out of New Orleans.
But usually those tight ends, when they get a chance to get on the ball, they take it and run. But smart play, just jump on it and good field position. He's
more like a tackle.
Yeah.
At 6'4", 250.
Yeah.
Like an extra tackle up front. And it's interesting because a lot of the formations we saw were two tight ends with a single to each side and a single to the backfield.
Well, and we know Mark Richt from his Georgia days. He's had a few good running backs, and he's got a couple good ones here, double tight, so let's pound him.
So Miami, 1st and 10 to their own 31, 2 on the wide side of the field. Walton dashes, breaks a tackle around the collar, and gets 9 on first down. Let's see if they run it, because initially Mark Richt earlier in the week had talked about establishing a ground game.
And it's a pleasure when you have Mark Walton and Joseph Yearby 1-2 punch in the backfield.
Miami had 109 yards on the ground on 12 carries, so good yard per average per carry as Walton gets the first down.
And oh, by the way, Walton's from Miami, Yearby's from Miami. A lot of talent down here.
So what is Gus Edwards' story from Staten Island? Found the ferry. It's Walton bouncing it outside and on the spin with a flag down on the play. May see a hold, a hook on the outside by a receiver.
Yeah. And you're right, Joel. That's what it's going to be.
Spotted the foul on first down, so it'll bring it back. It'll make it first and short. It was Coley, the wide receiver.
Yeah, the field judge, Milton Britton, throwing that flag in there. And you can always tell when it's a receiver holding, because it's usually the field judge, the far official down the sideline, that throws that flag in.
He's got a good arm.
Yeah. Impressive.
Opening 30 seconds of the third. And they take it, actually, or they picked it up and put it all the way back. Now it's going to be first and 8 from the 47.
One of those weird ones, only because, as you said, it's from the spot of the foul. They mark it off. It was a long run.
Stay in the eye. It's almost like they got a tackle on the backfield at 6'1", 280. Marquez Williams, a senior from Athens, Georgia. He's in the end zone already in this opener. Play fake. Man, one-on-one coverage. Coley and a jump ball taken down. No flag. Their legs got tangled up, and maybe that's what they think it was incidental contact.
Coley's a little shaken up, and I'm with you, Joel. If they ruled that incidental contact, then you wouldn't call it. From the booth, my first look, I thought he might have got mugged. So we'll take a look at it here on replay.
Was it just locking up underneath? Yeah, tripped him. Yeah, so it was not up top.
Yeah.
It was down low, incidental.
And again, you know, remember, we look at it in slow motion a lot of times, and we can nitpick. The officials are looking at it in real speed. I have no problem with a no call there.
Absolutely. Second, and called it 7. Toss to the wide side. Yearby's back into the game. He'll take it for a couple of yards to the 49.
Here's the thing about Yearby. The junior, again, we said had over 1,000 yards rushing last year from Miami Central. You know who he shared a backfield with in high school at Miami Central? One Delvin Cook at Florida State. How about that for a high school backfield?
Not bad. Not bad. Yearby and Walton, 18 touchdowns combined last season and over 2,300 all-purpose yards. So experience in the backfield. You've got a 3-year starter at quarterback. Good days ahead. Get the first down, and they do. On a bullet to Malcolm Lewis, the senior from Miramar, Florida. That'll move the chains.
And I like the 5th-year senior, Malcolm Lewis. Good route, little inside dig route, gets past the line, past the marker to gain the first down. I like that. So as he comes back and makes the catch, he still has the first down.
It started at the Hurricanes 31. It's now at the Rattlers 40-yard line. Opening 2 minutes of the third. Not much available, but they still get 4 out of it. The linebacker on the back of the running back, and make it actually the left tackle Emilio Gibbs, the sophomore from Coral Gables High School in Miami.
That's always a bad thing when you meet the running back at the line of scrimmage and you get up and he's 3 and 4 yards down the field. It's pretty strong carrying you.
Second down from the 37. So going with a little tempo now on their first drive of the second half. Walton protects it well. Does he ever? Inside the 10 to the 5. Touchdown Miami.
And just a nice zone read. Give it to Walton. Good blocking up front. Center Nick Linder. Danny Isadora, the right guard. Just a great hole. You pull 52. Casey McDermott with a kick out block. Seal it inside. Walton's off to the races. That's a nice looking play.
In for the point after is Badgley. And it's up to 35 and counting. So the drive covers 69 yards. It's finished off by a 37-yard run. We'll get into the offensive line because there is experience in front of Mark Walton on a play like that. Mark Walton, the catalyst on that series. Joe Yerby already had a 67-yard touchdown run. That was 37, and Walton up to 105 yards on opening night. Not too shabby on just 12 carries.
And it's exactly what you want to do, establish the running game. And of course, that's what Mark Richt likes to do, establish that running game. It opens everything else up. And if they can do that as this season progresses, they're going to be in good shape.
Badgley kicks it away over to the far side. And it's going to be brought back by Gaskin. Makes it just to the 15. Marcus Gaskin, reserve running back from Delray Beach. So an opportunity, get more touches, more guys, and some reps. You're already down 35-3. Find out what you have.
Exactly. Get them in there, let them play. We talked about they go to Coastal Carolina after this. And as we look at the passing chart of Kenneth Coleman, not a bad night, Joel. 9 of 15, 135 yards, had the one interception. And he's done a nice job spreading it around the field as well. The nice 30-yarder over the middle. So, again, valuable reps for Kenneth Coleman as well. Remember, Carson Royal was really the true starter last year. They switched him over the tight end. Coleman getting all the reps this year, so valuable game time reps today.
They had 38 snaps in the first half for 154 yards. Nothing doing that time. So Coleman on his own, maybe 2, 3 at the most. Give him 3 up to the 18-yard line.
Yeah, well, who do you think hit him? You saw how slow he was getting up. That was Shaquille Quarterman, the freshman middle linebacker that they say he hits like a truck. Now, they're starting 3 freshman linemen. Let's take a look here. Coleman, and again, fighting off a block. It's Quarterman comes from behind. 29 Corn Elders there as well. Just not a lot of running room for Coleman.
Awkward position for the quarterback. And a loss on the carry. That time for Coleman. Or check, that's Super. Out of the backfield, loses a yard and a half. That was just good penetration, gang tackling.
Now, Miami has started a true freshman at middle linebacker before. 1998, Dan Morgan. You remember him? Very active, good middle linebacker. But that's just one. They've never started 3 before like this year.
Dan Morgan, good NFL career too. It'll be 3rd long. Coleman, too tall for his flanker. He's trying to get it to Montavious Williams. And there was heat again from Demetrius Jackson. So timed well by the D-back on that side, Adrian Colbert, a senior from Mineral Wells, Texas, who transferred to Miami. This is his final year after he already played at Texas.
Correct. You know, we have the graduate transfer rule, so you can graduate from your school, you can transfer to another school as long as they have some type of educational degree or class that that school doesn't offer, and that's why we see the transfers.
Blanton ready to punt it to Barrios once again. And barely got it away. Barrios buried. Man, that's a lead with the helmet, the crown of the helmet, and that's why you saw the flags. Penalty is going to be assessed on the Rattlers. Antonio Miller, young man out of Lakeland, Florida.
And there's a halo there as well for kick-catch interference, so we'll see exactly what the call is. You're right, though, Joe. You cannot use that crown of the helmet. We'll see if they call targeting or just kick-catch interference.
That's a 15-yard penalty. This play is under review.
Yeah, led with the helmet.
Yeah, and they called it on Antonio Miller. That'll be automatically reviewed. And there's a couple ways you can get targeting. Let's take a look at it here as Barrios made the fair catch as well. Yeah, and that's clear targeting. He launched, he lowered the helmet, and he hit him above the shoulders. So that's every element of targeting right there. Clearly will be ejected. Because I was going to say you can get targeting without leading with a helmet if you hit above the shoulders, but he not only hit above the shoulders, he lowered the helmet, and launching is one of the elements. And I tell you what, wow, Antonio Miller did them all. So he'll be watching the rest of this game from the locker room.
So they review it as you mentioned. It'll take the ball down to the 36 of Florida A&M. So he didn't hit the exact, he hit the trifecta.
Yeah, he sure did.
And they're letting him know now, and he's understanding the consequences.
Is confirmed. Targeting. 31 has been disqualified.
So trying to make a play.
Well, you know, he's upset. He doesn't like it. But that rule is put in as much for him as it is the receiver or the offensive player. You never want to, you always want to see what you hit. You can't dip your shoulder. Now listen, everything else was good. You just got to get that head to the side and use a shoulder and you'll be all right.
6 penalty for 54 yards. And I like what the Rattlers staff is doing.
Yeah, you got to get him out of here. He wants to talk a little garbage over to the Miami bench, and you can't do that. I mean, it was the correct call, right call by the officials on the field, right call by the booth, and Antonio Miller's in the locker room now.
Yeah, you don't want his youthful exuberance to get the best up on his way out.
And let's remember, because he did it, he got caught in the second half of this game. He misses the first half of the next game against Coastal Carolina.
Good call. Good point. So 4 minutes gone by in the third. Touchdown already on the board for Miami. And now a short field. And remember, the first 3 times they had it tonight, it started in A&M territory. After the pick by Cornelder at the 28, at the 20, at the 45, now the 36. And there's the night so far for Kaya. Yearby spinning into daylight. Too much room. He'll be dragged down, ankle tackle from behind. The tackle made by Ronald Harris Jr., the linebacker from Raleigh. 21 yards on the carry.
Well, it's going to be a little competition between Walton and Yearby. Who can have more yards? Look at the little spin. I love it. Got the ball in the proper hand. Right hand as he's going to the right sideline. Good explosion by Yearby.
Yeah, the one thing that stands out more than anything else, team speed. Bubble, wide receiver. Man, will he get there? Yes. Touchdown. It goes to Amon Richards.
I mean, when we watch this play again, Joel, what I want you to look at is the blocking on the perimeter by the receivers. I believe it was 8 Barrios, 3 Coley, both with great cut blocks to put their guys down. Nice pass by Kaya to Richards. Look at one cut block on the outside, another cut block. And Richards gets it into the end zone, the true freshman, for his first collegiate touchdown.
What about the space, though, to begin with?
Well, I love the fact, and listen, if you're playing for Mark Richt, if you're a running back, if you're a receiver, you're going to block. And that's what they did. We got an injured Florida A&M player out there, but they were good legal cut blocks. Got the defenders on the ground, a good quick pass by Kaya to Richards, and a good looking play. Nice quick pass to Richards, and you're going to see one cut block there. Coley to the left of Richards. You're going to see another cut block. Barrios. And Barrios not only cuts his guy, he gets back up and tries to get another block. So you love that. If your receiving core blocks for one another, you spring big plays, and that was a nice one right there.
Yeah, you can see the pain on the corner. Orlando McKinney, sophomore corner from Atlanta, who played last year as a true freshman. Well, let's just hope he's okay as they look at his right leg and knee. So time out on the field. 10:20 to play, and already 2 touchdowns in the first 4 minutes and 40 seconds of the second half, in a game that was getting away from the Rattlers anyway at the end of the first half.
So let's look at it from a high look. One cut block by Coley, and they're both legal blocks. So and you can see McKinley really, Barrios threw a heck of a block. You know, when I used to do that, we used to get taught you want to power through the thigh of the defender, and that's really what Barrios did there. And McKinley's coming up, and it's hard because he's trying to make a hit, but you get hit like that and you flip up, and that's unfortunately, you hope that leg didn't get caught underneath, but that's a textbook cut block by Braxton Barrios and Stacy Coley.
Yeah, you saw the concern on the family and friends of the Florida A&M players, and we mentioned 20 are just from Miami, 25 plus from this South Florida region. So there's a lot of concerned family and friends out here in the ballpark tonight. Weather held up. We had a situation, if you joined us a little bit late, with lightning in the area, so not as many cameras working to start the game. Ian is Badgley for the point after. 14 unanswered over the first 440. So Barrios with the block, the guy that took the shot at the other end on the punt return. They continue to look at the defensive back, unfortunately, on the sideline, Orlando McKinney. Some ice has been applied as well. And I like the fact that the Miami has sent some of their staff, their medical personnel over as well.
And you hope maybe it's just a helmet in the knee where it's more of a contusion than a ligament or something that gets stretched or bent. So our thoughts go out to Orlando McKinley. Long season ahead of him. Let's hope he's okay.
Miami dominating now to the point of 42-3. Over to the far side. It'll be Ruskin bringing it back. And put down short of the 15 once again, right at the 15. And check that. Ruskin was on the other side, so bringing it back was Kareem Smith, the wide receiver. But still the same result, unfortunately, that we saw from Ruskin on the previous one. And now, after starting into their own 14, Florida A&M begins deep in their own territory. So Mark Richt, one of the new guys in the ACC. 4 new coaches in the ACC this year.
Well, Dino Babers comes over from Bowling Green, Bronco Mendenhall from BYU, Justin Fuente from Memphis, so all good coaches.
Exceptional play in the secondary, and Justin Fuente turned around a Memphis program that had been dormant for a long time, and helped also the facilities get started again.
Yeah, and a lot of people were surprised Bronco Mendenhall left, but chance to go to Virginia in the ACC, and so all good coaches, and we'll see what they can do with their respective schools.
Well, they roughed in the new quarterback, just checked into the game. That's a good idea. Find out what Ryan Stanley can get as he takes a shot to the face from Chad Thomas, the left end.
Yeah, clearly roughing, and technically you can be called for targeting with a hit to the head like there, so Thomas lucky there that it's just roughing.
Penetration in the backfield. Super can't get out as soon as he got it from Stanley. So Ryan Stanley has taken over, a redshirt freshman. A couple of years ago in Pembroke Pines, he was first team all Broward County. And his senior year in high school, in fact, impressive. 40 touchdown passes and just 6 picks. So the opportunity in the second half, down by 39.
Yeah, good size kid, 6'3", 190. It's a good arm on him. Just got to give him some time.
Loss puts it back at the 23 after the mark-off. And a little turn-in route. It's complete for his first college completion to Montavious Williams. So get the butterflies out of the way. And it was a nice throw in front of the receiver. It'll be 3rd and long, though, still 3rd and about 11. 6 minutes gone in the 3rd. And is Miami going to be the factor, the force that we think they could be? We'll talk about their offensive line when they're back out on the field, because that has maybe been, besides the penetration we've seen from the front 7 on defense, maybe the most impressive group tonight. Slide north, the tight end. Flare it out in the flat. Super at the 30 is going to be well short. So he's down to the 33. It'll be 3 and out with the punt. Or check that. They got the first down to the penalty. 1 first down. Their first of the second half. And a punt. And too much work tonight for Colby Blanton. So Barrios is back deep.
I was going to say, for Bland, there'll be some ice on his leg after this game.
And in our glass, 8:12 to play in the 3rd, and it's bobbled by Blanton, and down he goes from bad to worse. First one in there for Miami. It was Josh Johnson, a defensive back from Jacksonville. Or was it Homer? It was Homer, actually. Freshman from West Palm. Snapped a little bit low through the 5-hole. So Homer getting the opportunity on special teams, the reserve running back, not the defensive back. Double numbers.
Yeah.
So it is going to be the 5th time in this game that Miami has started with the ball in Rattler territory. This time at the 15. Had a check. Now full timeout.
Yeah, and you saw Brad Kai kind of put his hands behind his back. Again, he can combo. He can change the play at the line of scrimmage. A lot of times in a loud stadium, you're going to give a hand signal to your tailback behind you, bark it out to the offensive lineman, and that's what he does right there. And you've seen that a few times tonight. Take a look at his hands there. You see Mark Walton looking at him, and he's giving a little signal to Mark Walton. See all the offensive linemen kind of tilted back. They're listening to him as he gives the hand signal to Walton. Unfortunately, he didn't like the defense he saw in terms of what play he had called, and he goes ahead and burns a timeout.
Well, I'm glad you brought up, though, the offensive line, because they have been rock solid. 27 consecutive starts. Danny Isadora, the senior from Weston, at right guard. Linder started every game last year, the center. Trevor Darling started every game last year, the junior from Miami, at left tackle. They've got some experience up front and talent. Well, shut down for one of the few times as he spun down at the 13.
And Isadora's the only senior on the starting offensive lineman, and he's the leader of that group, but as you said, very experienced, and they're going to need that when they get into conference play as the season progresses. You know, the first couple one for Miami, we got Florida A&M, Florida Atlantic, then at Appalachian State. Of course, we saw what they almost did to Tennessee, and then it's kind of a gauntlet from there.
On 2nd and long, Walton with a stiff arm broke one tackle and then lunges for a couple of extra yards down to the 8, short of the first down by 3. Well, it's interesting because you have a coach who came out of a very difficult, in some feel the best conference in all of college football, the SEC. So when you look at their schedule, the kind of the tune-ups, the warm-ups, Florida A&M, Florida Atlantic, and Appalachian State just about beat Tennessee the other night, lost in overtime.
And they're going to Appalachian State, which is Boone, North Carolina, and I guarantee you the Miami Hurricanes are the biggest program ever to go to Boone, so that place will be rocking. So that, you know, you think that's a tune-up, it's not. And then you got Georgia Tech, Florida State, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Notre Dame, Pitt. I mean, it's a gauntlet after that.
Tough, very tough stretch. As you mentioned, once they get into ACC play early. 1st and goal on the run to the 3. And into the end zone, touchdown as they split out Coley on that side. So Stacy Coley, the senior from Pompano, his first touchdown of the season.
And that's a perfect pass by Brad Kaya. That is a back shoulder fade. Get the ball high and get it away from the defender. Back shoulder work. Only Coley can turn and make this catch. This is impossible to defend if it's thrown correctly and thrown where it is here by Kaya. Perfect execution.
Badgley in for the point after. So 2 more touchdown passes in the second half for Brad Kaya. Points off a takeaway. With a fumbled snap by the punter, Coley converts with Kaya, and it's 49-3. As a total of 12 completions in a 49-3 lead, but 4 have gone for scores, and that matches a career best.
Yeah, and I think Mark Richt's probably seen enough tonight of Brad Kaya, so I would not be surprised if we see Malik Rozier, the backup, next time Miami gets the ball.
His leading running back has been Walton with 15 for 116 on the ground. And from the goal line, it's going to be Ruskin. A delay a game on him only to the 11. Check that. Instead, it'll be Kareem Smith again. So Florida A&M back at their own 11-yard line. And let's see if Stanley's back in there. As you mentioned, though, will we see Malik Rozier, the backup quarterback, the next time Miami has it? We are going to see Ryan Stanley, though, 6'3", 190-pound, redshirt freshman, Pembroke Pines, Florida. So yet to get into the end zone. And Mark Richt had a pretty good idea of the way it was going to go, not how they'd get there, but facing a team that is rebuilding once again after a 1-10 season. Inside of 6.5 left in the third. Super is tracked down very quickly up front, and in the secondary coming up to get him. There's a combination on the tackles. It was Knowles, the defensive back, and also Jenkins, the D lineman.
Yeah, and it's a good chance for defensive coordinator Manny Diaz get some of his subs in as well, get some guys some playing time and work on some things.
Stanley in trouble, and a good idea by an inexperienced redshirt freshman. So throw it away for a third down and a try at 3rd and 10.
Especially when you got a guy bearing down on you right by your goal line.
So the signals from the Rattlers, Ronald Reiki, running back out of Sarasota. Now can they get 10? Had a first down on their second series of the second half on a penalty. Spun down and dropped, though, off the edge. Man, once again, and we've talked about the depth. That's Johnson. Sophomore from Miami. He's made some plays tonight.
Yeah, and we should say, and I like to call it the Mark Richt effect, the Hurricane fans are excited. Sold over 40,000 season tickets, which is phenomenal. Big crowd for this opener, and they're very excited for what Mark Richt can do here with this program.
Well, it's pretty wild when you lose your job after a 145-51 record in 15
when
years.
You think about it, yeah.
Barrios back waiting for the punt. He's got some room this time. Man, breaks the containment. Gets a big block down the field. The 15 to the 10. He should make it. Touchdown, Miami. The decleater came at about the 30.
Wow, was that a great block. Nice job by Barrios setting it up, and it was Ryan Mays with the block. Second time we called his name out. Of course, he picked up the block punt earlier, and just watch it. Barrios makes the catch, gets it back to the right side, and you're going to see a decleater coming up right here. Legal block, perfect. Gets it on the shoulder. You saw a mouthpiece fly in the air right there. And you said it, Joel, decleater.
It comes with 4:47 still left in the third. Well, they're going to look at it. This could be interesting because it looked like he was in front.
Well, here's the thing now. This is a new rule this year. Replay can create a foul for targeting and only targeting. So you can target on a block like this. Let's see. This is probably our best look at it. Coming up right here. You don't see it there, but I am sure that replay is looking at it right here. We're going to look. Wow. And well, that's your best look.
Yeah, helmet got there. He leaned with the shoulder.
You have helmet on helmet there, which is one element of it. Did he launch?
No, his foot was on the ground.
Yeah.
The point is, though, as he leaned with the shoulder, it looked like the helmet and the shoulder arrived at the same time.
So we're going to get another look at it here. So this is a big call for Joseph Underwood. I was just talking about this because no replay official wants to create a targeting. It has to be an egregious call.
Yeah, he's on the ground.
Boy, right there, though, you see the upper body, the helmet contact, the helmet of the Florida A&M player. So we'll see. Might be the first created targeting of the year. We'll see what the call is. And he knows that's what they're looking at. And what I would tell these guys is you have to lower your target. You have to get to the shoulder. Now, I know Mays is a taller guy. You know, he's 6'1", 6'2", but you just have to lower yourself because you come across. That's the launch he does. I know you said his feet are on the ground, Joe, but a little bit of a launch, and here we get the call.
Rolling on the field, stands, touchdown.
So they don't create a foul. They're good with the no call. They're good with Barrios getting in, and just not enough to create a foul there. And I'm not going to question Joseph Underwood, the replay official, because that's no one wants to create a foul. Stick with what they had on the field.
Point after makes it 56-3. We thought it was going to be difficult for the Rattlers to stay, and I'm talking about making a game, but didn't think it'd be this extreme with this much time left in the third. And spreading the wealth, as you said. Quarterback moving it around, but here's another one from specials.
And you got a good night out of Yearby, Walton, your running backs, and just look at the way it is spread around in that offense. So Mark Richt has to be thrilled about that.
And Barrios right back out there because he's on kick coverage as well. So the punt return for a score of 41 yards. And now more than anything else, you want everybody to get out here healthy. Game's already been determined. With that much time left, and the ground game should be featured. Ruskin back deep once again, along with Norwood this time.
I'd like to know what Mark Richt said at halftime in the locker room, because they've come out gangbusters here in this third quarter.
He's kind of a quiet guy, though.
Yeah.
Not like he'd take the paint off the wall in the locker room, would he?
But he's the type of guy, though, that would look at you with that kind of stern, soft but stern voice, and yes, sir, you know, you come out and you start playing ball.
It'll stay in the end zone for the touchback. Bring it out.
And it'll be some of their best field position of the night, unfortunately.
Pretty close.
25-yard line.
Only twice has it been better. At their own 26, and the last drive of the first half at their own 34. This is the 11th possession of the game for Florida A&M. Well, you see, only 29 yards and Markoff's tonight, an improvement. And that's the reputation that has also been with Miami over the last couple of decades, that they get in their own way.
Sure.
Stanley back in there at quarterback. And pulling his hands back almost like he didn't know if it was for him. Was the wide receiver on that side. That was strange.
I don't know if the ball slipped out of Stanley there, but you're right. The receiver was a little confused. Didn't really go for it. The ball was behind him.
So 53-point game.
Yeah, not a close one. But you said it. If you're Florida A&M, you just want to get out of here. No injuries. Be able to get into your MEAC schedule. And
tight end's got it across the 40, a first down. So, and he had a grab in the first half, Desmond Nord.
Nice little seam route by Nord and a little tempo here. Good pass by Stanley.
So 17 on the reception. First down of the second half that didn't come by way of penalty for the Rattlers. Good play fake. Now the deep ball down the middle in a jump ball situation, and it's picked off. Elder's already got one. This one belongs to Colbert, and Colbert's got a convoy coming down the sideline as he's bumped out of bounds. So both defensive backs have picks.
And that's a luxury when both corners, Cornelder, Adrian Colbert, can play man-to-man, lock the receiver down, and you think the receiver's got to step on him. Colbert plays it perfect. He runs stride for stride, looks back the last second, locates the ball, goes up, high points it, makes the catch, and then turns into a running back, catches some blocks, returns it back. all the way to the 40-yard line.
So Williams, the intended target. If anything, if you're Williams, you want to make sure if you don't get it, it's on the ground.
Correct.
It's knocked away. Malik Rozier, the sophomore from Mobile, comes in at quarterback. Played against Duke, don't forget, and that emotional win last year on the lateral play. Yearby up top, they get him around the collar. No gain on the carry. So Rozier, smaller back, 6'1", 215 in that game at Duke. 20 of 29 for 272 yards passing with a couple of scores.
Yeah, Kaya was out of that game with a concussion, and Rozier, a little different skill set. I think he's a little better runner than Kaya, but good, valuable reps for him in this game.
It'll be Yearby going low to get about 5, almost 6 down to the 34. And under the best laid plans, let's face it, Rozier doesn't take any snaps in the first 3.5 quarters of games this year.
Yeah.
He's a guy when the game is away, and they have put away their opponent. So both running backs, Walton and Yearby, with that career run, are past the century mark on the ground. And looking for the first down, low throw, tough one. Dale Harris, who was wide open for a half hour to go down and get.
Yeah, and it was a nice play call here. Roll Rozier out just a little low. He actually had Malcolm Lewis wide open down the sideline.
Well, we talked about the ground game and the offensive line in particular, and that's the impressive part.
You know, and I asked Coach Mark Richt, you know, in a perfect Mark Richt world, what would your carry distribution look like? And he said Walton will get probably most of the carries, but Yearby right there. But Yearby with half the carries and almost as many yards.
Florida
It's a pretty good average.
First charge, timeout. This will be a 30-second timeout.
A&M was not ready for that, going on 4th, but back to Yearby and Walton.
Well, both of them have good hands, can catch the ball out of the backfield, which is an asset. And both of them are exceptional runners. They read their blocks well. And for their size, they're extremely strong. Yearby goes about 200 pounds. Walton's a little bigger, 205, maybe 208, both with good speed. And, you know, it's good to have two backs like that you can lean on. And so we take a look at Walton here, great blocking up front. He hits it and he hits it hard. And just a great luxury to have these guys who happen to be 1 and 2 number-wise.
Yeah, as you look at those 22 carries tonight, 221 yards. On 4th down, man, it just got over the linebacker. It's a first down on the reception. And his first catch and his first touch of the night for Miami, it belongs to the tight end Standish Dobard, one of my favorite names in college football.
And a nice catch, nice first down, and now Rozier got those cobwebs off, completes a pass.
That was on 4th and 5. Now it's 1st and 10 at the 19. Fake the toss, take it yourself. That's what he does well. He's got good wheels to the 5, and he's going into the end zone. It almost appeared they thought he was going to run out of bounds. Not when you don't get any snaps or reps. You're going to stay in.
And the thing is, on that little bootleg, he had a couple receivers open too, but you knew right away that Malik Rozier was going to run this ball. Right here, he turns. He's got a couple receivers, tucks it right away. He knows he's going to run it. I like it high and tight with the ball down the sideline. Plants that right foot, says, no, I'm not going out of bounds. Cuts it back, and an easy score for the sophomore quarterback out of Mobile, Alabama.
Badgley in. It's now a 60-point lead for Miami.
Well, Ohio State put up 77 today, so maybe Miami's trying to catch them.
And they didn't score first. So, talk about, this is the healthiest of all scenarios, though.
The 8th player for Miami that scored today. Incredible. Yeah, no. If you're Mark Richt, you're ecstatic.
You couldn't ask for a better situation.
You're spreading around. You're seeing your team for the first time in real competition, and guys are competing and guys are executing.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you feel that this ballpark has had an identity crisis?
A few different names over the years.
And teams. I mean, the Marlins actually played games here.
Yeah.
It was just a perfect configuration for baseball.
Yeah, yeah, okay. But this is a, I love what they've done. And what they have done is they got him back in the Super Bowl rotation. They're going to be in the rotation for the college football playoff, there's no doubt. So a great facility for both the Miami Hurricanes and the Miami Dolphins in the future.
Ruskin back deep. They'll bring it from the 2. And across the 15, out across the 20, give them the 22. Special teams have been very efficient for Miami all night long. Well, as far as the college football playoff and the Super Bowl, they're concerned, to me, they should only be in 3 sites anyway.
Yeah, right.
New Orleans, Miami, and Southern California.
Yeah.
So, December 30th, Orange Bowl is going to be here at the new Hard Rock Stadium.
And then for the national championship, they don't go too far up the road. They keep it in Florida, in Tampa, at Raymond James. So, yeah, keeping it in Florida, pretty nice.
Sombreros are us. 2:17 left in the 3rd. Stanley stays in there at quarterback. And he pays the price. Running left with the ball in his right hand.
Yeah. And it was Shaquille Quarterman again. I mean, that's a kid that just, from that middle linebacker spot, he reads it and he reacts so quick, and he can run sideline to sideline. And when he gets to you with bad intentions.
Clock is stopped.
I mean, you better get a hat on this guy. I mean, and you're right. The quarterback has the ball in the wrong hand, and then Quarterman comes over. He tries to duck it.
That's the old-fashioned almost clothesline.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Brandon Norwood's down on a knee, the wide receiver on the near side. As he is out front trying to block for the quarterback.
Yeah, and I didn't see what happened. I mean, you hope on a humid night like this that maybe he's cramping up. Best case scenario, we'll take a look at it here. He's going to get rolled up on.
From behind. Worst.
Yeah, right there.
Worst scenario. Oh.
And hopefully, and I've seen worse rolled up on. Hopefully it comes out a little bit. It was obviously his right ankle, but of course, easy for me to say that. I don't have Cortell Jenkins, a 320-pound defensive tackle, rolling up on me. But good sign that he's walking off.
Well, Mark Richt is ready for challenges, isn't he? 10 meters means nothing to him.
Watch it. This is something I would not do. And he's just not going to jump in either. Take a look at this, folks. In honor of the Olympics, I'd give him like a 6.9 on that.
Russian judge gave him a 2.
Splash was little. I mean, listen. Pump your team up.
As long as it's not a belly flop from that.
Yeah.
Offside as the quarterback is cracked Ryan Stanley by the man who was offside of the running start. It's on Sheldrick Redwine.
Well, I was going to say, he better get there.
Offsides, defense, number 22. It's a 5-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
They're trying to stop the clock as often as possible in this game.
Well, and Redwine had a 3-yard head start.
He read read the line real well.
Like, he better get to him.
Yeah, snap count real well.
Now, I've played for a few college coaches. None of them done anything crazy, especially go off a 10-meter platform.
I want to get back to Mark Richt in just a moment. It'll be 2nd and 6 from the 25. And punched down. And off the edge once again, Demetrius Jackson is showing up on film all night long. When Mark Richt was released by the University of Georgia, there was shock across that state.
Sure was.
He was loved for 15 years. I mean, a quality guy, a family first guy, and he won.
Yeah. A lot of Georgia fans really upset. Listen, we talked about the 9-10 wins or more seasons. 11 of the 15 were 9 wins or more. I mean, sometimes administrations can just get carried away. I mean, the fact that he played in the same conference with Alabama
It's the toughest conference
Correct.
in college football,
I mean,
period.
Everyone looks at what Alabama does, and then they're judging their other teams, and sometimes I would say it's unfair.
And his team won 9 bowl games
Yeah.
in 15 years. Not bad.
And let's stick with the stop the clock theme with another penalty, Joel. So I know
Minute
that makes you
35 to
happy.
play, but there's the what's
After
going
the play,
on.
personal foul, 92 on the defense. That's a 15-yard penalty. First down.
And you see the difference between the two programs and what has happened in Miami and why they made the move. Because Miami, one of the prominent programs in college football,
But I mean,
into the early 2000s, but since 2004, not even 60%.
look at his win percentage. 726 plus 11-point differential, and you let the guy go. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. Now, how would you like to be Kirby Smart? You got to follow that up. What are your expectations at Georgia?
Well, and what about, we talked about Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Follow Frank Beamer and all he established there. Trouble. Stanley's down. The guy who really busted up the play was Thomas. Jackson will get credit. But Chad Thomas, the junior from Miami, he flies. Man, what speed off the edge.
Yeah, I mean, don't get confused again with that single-digit number. They love wearing it, but Thomas goes about 265, 270, and just can run unbelievable off the edge. And that time, there was an inside stunt. And then you have the two ends come, Jackson and Thomas, and they say, oh, we'll meet at the quarterback. And there's Manny Diaz, who came from Mississippi State. Oh, by the way, his old defense and team lost today to South Alabama. Big upset.
Second and long, it'll fail on the incompletion. Third down and long.
Now, we talked about Manny Diaz Sr., who was the mayor of Miami from 2001 to 2009, only had to leave because of term limits. I asked Manny Diaz, what's harder, being a coach or being a politician? He said, they're both, and there's Dad.
There you go.
They're both similar. And he goes, and I'll give it one more to you. It's similar to your guys' job as announcers because it's the three positions or professions where everyone else thinks they can do your job and they can do it better. And I said, you are 100% right.
Well short of the first down of the scramble with the heat is Ryan Stanley. So bunting situations, we wind down the third in a 60-point lead for the Mayor and the Canes and the U.
Manny Diaz didn't know Mark Richt great. He coached with him at Florida State. Manny Diaz was a GA when Mark Richt was a assistant coach for Bobby Bowden. And it was interesting. Manny Diaz said, if you watch Mark Richt coach, he's got a lot of Bobby Bowden in him, which isn't a bad thing.
No. And now if he just had Jimbo Fisher's talent across the board.
They're not far away.
No, you're right, but Florida State's, they got it going right now.
Well, I picked them to make the national championship game. Unfortunately, I picked LSU to beat them, so maybe I can get one of them right. I don't know. We'll see.
So Berrios, he took a shot and then he delivered a blow of his own, but he was back on a punt. And unfortunately, the Rattler led with his helmet.
And again, in case you're watching him, even if Berrios lowers himself, which may cause the targeting, it doesn't matter. It's still targeting. But I think that woke him up because on the next punt, he gets to the outside, picks up a great block, and he takes it to the house. We saw him throw some great blocks himself tonight on the perimeter, and a pretty good night for Braxton Berrios, the junior from Raleigh, North Carolina.
It's from the 26 and a huge hole. Gus Edwards, will he be caught? Inside the 20, and he's in. 74 yards on the run by Gus the Bus.
Here's the thing about Gus Edwards. He was coming off a foot injury last year, foot surgery. That was 6'1", 230 pounds of running back getting in the secondary, and look at his speed. Dare I say it, I mean, it looks like Leonard Fournette right there with the size and the speed. You think he's going to get caught, and he turns it on. So, I mean, you sit Mark Walton, you sit Joseph Yearby. Hey, Gus Edwards, redshirt junior from Staten Island. Nice carry, nice run, nice touchdown.
That'll be the final play. Took all of, can you run 74 in 7 seconds? Gus did with pads, with weight.
Yeah, 230 pounds coming at you. Look pretty good. That foot looks good.
The leg kick.
Offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Retry.
And they're not trying to pour it on. That's a simple off tackle play, isn't it?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, and what it was lead right. Edwards cuts it back and just a great run. No, I mean, they're not throwing the ball. They're not throwing stretch passes, streaks down the sideline. It's just an off tackle play, and Edwards takes it to the house.
So it's 28-3 at the break, and it's gotten away here in the third. So that's the end.
That's the end of the fourth quarter.
No, we wish it was the end of the fourth. The referee's got it just a little off. It's even gotten to the guys on the stripes downstairs. I don't blame them, though. 70-3, Miami through 3. Just 42 points in the third, an uneventful third.
Yeah.
Miami, very impressive on the ground. And let's face it, their quarterbacks haven't had to do much tonight.
Again, not trying to run the score up, just 74-yard run from Edwards. And again, 77 points is the most in Miami Hurricane history. 2013, they beat Savannah State, so they're on their way there.
Ruskin will take it about the 5 and get back to the 20.
308 yards rushing tonight out of the Hurricanes. 458 total. 152 for Florida A&M. So pretty good offensive output by the Hurricanes tonight.
What about team speed? I brought that up earlier, and I think it's even more apparent on the defensive side of the football.
Well, and I remember what I said earlier. Mark Richt was worried about the back end, the secondary. And granted, I know it's Florida A&M, but the corners, Adrian Colbert, which they said was a great addition, the fifth-year graduate transfer from Texas. And again, they challenged Corn Elder, and we know what kind of great athlete he is. And they said he answered the call this camp, so they were excited for Corn Elder for his senior year this year.
What a great name. Corn Elder. I like it. Had a pick to start the game for Elder on the very first possession for Florida A&M. It'll be the bubble for Norwood, going nowhere. That's the recovery speed that we're talking about for the defense, and give the guys up front. Two guys that have stood out, 9 and 31.
Yeah.
Chad Thomas and Demetrius Jackson have been all over the place. You talked about Pinckney and Quarterman, the two backers.
Yeah. And now the unfortunate thing for Florida A&M as we get into the fourth, as those subs come in, they're going to play even harder because they want to show their coach they want to play.
And they never get the opportunity except practice. It'll be second and long. Super. Into the secondary and down the sideline, and bumped out of bounds after a big game. He is forced out by Romeo Finley. 20 yards on the carry.
Yeah, nice run by Supra. Good block on the left side, and no quit him. Little stretch play. Ball's in the proper and catches a nice block. Gets it to the outside, and he's run out of bounds by Finley, another freshman defensive back.
First down at the 42. Similar play. Other side, though. Bumped out of bounds. 90 seconds into the fourth. So overall depth, that's a question.
Yeah.
Let's face it, going into the season for Miami, and inexperience on the defensive side.
Mark Richt said, listen, if I had a crystal ball and I knew I would stay healthy, I'm very happy with what I have, but it's football. So the depth is going to be an issue as they go through the season.
Super with a flag down on the play. Sees a run out, gain of about 4.
Holding. 67 on the offense. That's a 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Center Khalil Harris, a sophomore from Gulfport, Mississippi.
And been a pretty active night for Tony Marcello, the referee, his ACC crew, but they've called a good game.
Well, Miami is cut down, and that's encouraging after what happened last year and the penalties they picked up. So overall discipline, because there has not been a great deal of continuity in the program. from the 34, second and long after the mark-off. Ben, Pete, good job. Flag on the play, though, where you normally see another holding call. As Ryan Stanley is down. That's thrown by the referee.
Holding, 51 on the offense. That's a 10-yard penalty, second down.
The transfer from Kentucky, left tackle T.J. Jones.
And getting back to that depth issue, remember, they lost 2 defensive players. Alquan Muhammad, a defensive end, who had 54 tackles, 5 sacks last year, and Jermaine Grace, a linebacker, who had 79 tackles. They were dismissed from the program. Mark Richt said he did not dismiss them. They were under investigation before he got here. The investigation was finalized. Obviously, the NCAA said they broke sanctions for driving luxury cars from a rental service, so they were dismissed by the administration. But Coach Richt said while they were here, they played hard for him. They listened. They were good kids, but the dismissal came from the administration, not him.
So when you talk about the overall depth and experience you've lost, but
yeah, that hurt. There's no doubt.
A mistake.
But like he said, next guy up. You know, it's an opportunity for someone else to step up.
And those 3, Zach McLeod, Shaq Quarterman, and Quarterman and Pinckney have played most of the game tonight. The middle and weak side backers. We're talking about the first-year freshman linebackers. So it started out to be a standing room only crowd tonight here in Miami. It's dissipated somewhat. And on the delay, Super runs into a couple. And that is chopped down by Kendrick Norton, who cleaned up the tackle on the left side.
And you see Super's helmet come off, so he's got to come out for a play. The only time you can stay in the game when your helmet comes off is it comes off for the reason of a foul. Just comes off
that
there.
young man has really worked hard.
Yeah,
tonight.
he has.
He's in front of family and friends at
Correct.
Coral Gables High School.
He has played hard. He has run hard. Had some nice plays, some nice runs. And listen, let's face it, his offensive line is outgunned up there, but he's still playing his tail off, so you love that.
Malcolm Lewis getting the opportunity. Barrios brought one back for a score. And now they'll stay away from it. So when we come back, Hurricanes with 4 minutes gone in the 4th, dominating, get it right back. Of course, the evening we've been talking about a former quarterback coming back to his alma mater to coach now at Mark Richter. And Mark Richt is up 70-3 right now. Well, Michael Irvin II, dad, kind of a wiry, long, gifted wide receiver. His son's a tight end. And what about Vincent Testaverde?
Yeah, pretty good genes right there.
Yep.
Interesting. You see he's wearing that number 14. They unretired it. Dad said, you can take it down for my son. So that's why he's wearing the 14. He gets to wear Dad's number.
Waving his way out of the backfield. The guy that just raced for 74 yards for his score. So Vincent Testaverde, a redshirt sophomore quarterback. His dad, maybe a little bit taller. 6'2", 200 pounds.
Offside.
His dad's a little bit longer.
Number 90, defense. Penalty will be declined. Result of the play, first down.
And then don't forget about Michael Irvin II. His dad, a little bit longer, not as wide. He's a tight end.
Tight end, 230 pounds. Played at St. Thomas Aquinas up the road, which is a high school power, and a young kid. And getting back to Testaverde, from everything I researched, he was in the battle for the backup position with Malik Rozier. So obviously good genes. So you know he can throw the ball.
It'll be Edwards again. Outside his right tackle for about 5. Up to the 48. So the continuity factor we talk about, because let's face it, since the great teams of the late 90s into the early 2000s, it has not been there, but they're trying to get it back. And there you see Vinny Testaverde over to the far left. Mark Richt wearing number 9 next to Bernie Kosar. Jim Kelly wearing number 12. They want to bring it back, as they called it, to the U.
And I'm not crazy. You saw the Ring of Honor. Testaverde changed his number to 14, and that's the number that got retired.
You've lost it. At 70-3, I don't blame you. Inside of 9:40 and counting left.
Well, Gus Edwards is going to run his tail off, because Walton has 100 yards, Yerby has 100 yards, so Walton or Edwards says, you know, I'm pretty close. I'm going to try to get 100 yards. So that'd be something to have 3 backs over 100 yards.
And that would be a trivia question.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 3rd down and 7 from the 46. Coastal Carolina is up next for Florida A&M, and unfortunately the first 3 games of the year for the Rattlers all on the road. Edwards, nice little jump cut. He's not far away from 100, inside for the 40 down to the 39. And did he go over 100 now? So it is a rare occasion at any level. He got 17 on that carry. That you have 3 over 100, and that's what we've got tonight for Miami. 106 for Gus.
Pretty good.
Well, and what a memorable start, though,
yeah.
to your going back to your alma mater. Now, you've had big wins, monster wins at Georgia, but it had to be an emotional night for Mark Richt, his wife, and his entire family. From the 39. Knee down, just barely.
And that's about the only thing that was stopping Edwards right there was the whistle by the official, because 230 pounds, look at the guns on him. Only the redshirt junior, I mean, he was just powering his way there.
Darius Smith, the junior from Fleming Island, Florida. Had him by the jersey. It'll bring up 2nd and 8.
We talked about the homecoming for Mark Richt to come home to his alma mater. Well, of course, Manny Diaz, the defensive corner, born and raised in Miami.
Right.
We talked about him, and he said, you know, as coaches, we don't pick where we coach. And when I had an opportunity to come back here in front of family, he jumped all over it.
It'll be out on the edge, a drop from behind. So the opportunity for Dobart, a little bit behind, but catchable. And it's going to bring up 3rd and long, stopping the clock with 7:36 to play. And you know they're not going to kick a field goal.
Now,
warm night in South Florida. And you brought it up. Fortunately, both these teams, they're used to humidity and dealing with fluids and making sure you're hydrated. So there's Gus Edwards, 74 yards on his 2nd touch of the night for a touchdown run. 3rd and 8. What a bolt and what a blast inside the 25. The running back for the Hurricanes, Travis Homer. We saw him make a play on specials. He's a true freshman, 1st-year freshman from West Palm Beach. He'll move the chains. There's a flag at the end of the play. Was there a face mask potentially?
We have unsportsmanlike conduct 15 on the defense. His helmet came off, continued to participate in the play. I rule that's a foul, half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
So a chance for more. Now Miami inside the 10.
this is the toughest play for a defender. Your helmet comes off, instinctively you want to keep playing. And what he does is he gets up and he runs to get back in on the tackle right there, and it's a penalty. You just can't do it. And that rule is implemented for his safety, but that's just instincts right there. That's a tough penalty, but that is the correct application of the rule.
Feel like I'm watching The Longest Yard. 1st and goal with the nose of the football on the 10. And the ball comes out, the dive into the end zone for it, and the Rattlers get it. So Travis Homer lost it. It's squirted, and picking it up for Florida A&M, it's Tyler Woodley, the D-back. We'll come back for the final 7 minutes in Miami. Time for our Capital One Impact Performance of the Night.
And Brad Kaya, the junior quarterback, exceptional job throwing to the left, throwing to the right, spreading the ball around to multiple receivers, running his new Mark Richt run offense. to a T tonight. 4 touchdown passes, career high for Kaya, and did exactly what he needed to do tonight. Get out there, get the cobwebs out this first game, spread the ball around, and a good performance by Kaya and his Hurricanes.
Ronald Ricci, redshirt sophomore, his first carry of the night. Gets a yard. It'll be 2nd and 9. 6.5 and counting to play. So it was easy from the outset. Miami scored in the first 2 possessions, both in Florida A&M territory with short fields. And now you just want everybody to get out of here healthy. A couple of guys nicked up, hopefully not seriously. Once again, same young man on the carry. The opportunity for Ricci.
Yeah, we saw him giving signals earlier in the game. Now he's running it.
So he was the guy on the sideline. And unfortunately, we talked about guys getting nicked up.
And that's Jenkins. He's been very active tonight. So hopefully that's nothing serious. But, you know, in a 70-3 game, boy, for either team, you don't want to lose anybody.
No, Juniors, he's right now behind Norton, but they've been alternating with those 3 tackles, McIntosh, Norton, and Jenkins. It'll be 3rd and 9. Complete, and with the stiff arm, may get the first down. Taken in by Marcus Williams, a redshirt freshman from right here in Miami. So a good feeling for him to get on the field late in the game. His first career catch. That's bad news. So Jenkins on first down, loss of about 3. Good penetration again up front. And we talked about they can't afford, especially on the defensive line, they can't afford injuries because of the lack of depth.
And again, the sanctions, you know, this is the last year of the sanctions, still 5 scholarships short. So that hurts in that depth area. And again, this big Cortell Jenkins get looked at. Hopefully it's just something minor. Because again, 70-3, you hate to lose anyone.
It's always minor when it's the other guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're crossing our fingers, is what you're implying. I agree. 2nd and long. On the carry, Tevin Spell's first carry of the second half for him as he's hit in the backfield. No gain.
57, Mike Smith, the sophomore linebacker that comes in for their freshman linebacker. So a good linebacking core for the Miami Hurricanes. Very young, but very good.
So will the Canes return to their gloried past? 5 national titles, talked about in the last one coming in 2001. In the last 11 seasons, Miami has finished the season among the top 25 only twice. 05, 09. Smart play by Ryan Stanley in a 70-3 game, finding the sideline. But will they get it back? Only 3 losing seasons over the last 35 years, but we're not used to them being 8-5.
Yeah.
And since 2010, Miami is just 43-33. So they have not had it, and we talked about it in the first quarter, a double-digit win season since 2003. Well, in 15 years, good grab on a high snap by the punter. And going to be a flag on a rough. Norton hit the punter.
Well, he's a 300-pounder. He tried to stop it. He just bumped into him. But
it'll go back.
Tony Marcella said, I'm throwing a flag. But he's not going to call roughing here. He's going to call the 5-yard version.
Right.
Defense. Penalty will be declined.
Right, because he didn't give a first down anyway. And after he saw the snap, almost went over his punter, Blanton's head. I don't blame him. Not exactly the breaks of a D-back or a wide receiver. Just a love tap in a 70-3 game. Seconds in a very strong debut for Mark Richt. one of the good guys in college football. Easy to pull for the Canes coach. And you know, it's kind of funny. You bring a guy like that as your head coach who set such a good program for 15 years at Georgia, and he comes to a program where sometimes the image has not been the greatest. And then Mark Richt is a guy, well, I can't root against him.
Yeah.
It's real interesting the way it works, as they'll keep it on the ground, try to run out the clock now.
And I mean, it's like the stars align for the University of Miami, because if you would ask them, you know, their top couple coaches to pick, Mark Richt would be in there as we look at the most points in a game. And they were going in to tie it, but we had the fumble by Homer. But pretty good. I think they'll settle for 70.
But you go back to some of the guys that have coached here in the past, likable. And then things worked where all of a sudden, not only were they not winning at such a great rate, but then you had some characters and you question whether or not their priorities were all about the team or all about themselves. Quarterback has checked in for the first time tonight. It is Evan Sheriffs is the quarterback, 6'5", 210-pound redshirt freshman from Jefferson, Georgia. Big kid.
Yeah. So nice, get him some snaps in live play.
At a 3rd down and 3, coming up from the 40. So when you can get touches for guys that are third teamers, Ciccarello's in there as well. Nothing to do with the Marx brothers, but Ciccarello is in there now. Need 3, and then they can take a knee. Homer won't get it. Good chase. Good to see guys like that who are playing still with a big motor like Calvin Darville, starter on the defensive line, and from down in this neck of the woods.
I was thinking the same thing. Not quitting, not giving up. And that's a credit to Alex Wood. I mean, players still playing to the final whistle, and you love to see that.
Yeah, Darville is a starter. Came on in the second half of last season, and in fact our conversation with Alex Wood called him out as one of the leaders on this defense.
And listen, Florida A&M came into this game kind of nicked up as well, and Alex Wood brought in 7 junior college transfers, some other college transfers, and trying to get some experience right away. Unfortunately, a lot of guys been nicked up.
Williams back deep. The short kick, it'll go out of bounds for the final 45 seconds. So the 42-point third quarter was the hammer on Alex Wood and the Rattlers. Final 43 seconds, and welcome back once again to Miami. Another running play or two for the Rattlers. And that'll do it. Short of the first down, so that won't stop the clock on a gain of 8. So Mark Richt in his debut as the head coach at his alma mater. Very convincing one. Very similar to what we saw, not to this extent, but very methodical the way they did it, and then sharing in the wealth with so many guys scoring. That'll be the final snap, and it's all over.
And I think that's the biggest thing. They got to spread it around. Saw a lot of different guys score, a lot of different guys touch the ball. An active defense causes some turnovers, and an active special team. So good first start game for Miami Hurricanes and Mark Richt.
As we mentioned before, with the type of person he is, the way he ran his program in Athens, easy to root for Mark Richt in Miami as well. So we wrap things up in Miami at the new Hard Rock Stadium. And for Rini Agoli, I'm Joel Myers. Thanks for joining us. Our final score once again, it was only 28-3 at the half, but it got away in the third. 42 points in the third for Miami as they win at 70-3. And to watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And for our entire ESPN crew, so long from Miami.